The imminent start of the convention. 1. Xiaoqin, you don't want to see me? Hurt to the point where his heart aches terribly, Bai Zhongping asks with sadness in his voice. No, it's not like that, the boy hurries to reply after seeing the man's reaction. I also like Grandpa Zhongping a lot. Then why do you want to leave as soon as you saw me? Not answering for the longest time, Bai Xiaoqin took a good minute before he could make up his mind. Grandpa Zhongping, I won't leave, don't worry. Xiaoqin, your mother, is she also here as well? Bai Zhongping hurries to ask. Blinking his eyes at the inquiry, Bai Xiaoqin faintly nods in confirmation. Aha, mother is at the main avenue. Do you want to meet her? It's absolutely true the man here wanted to meet his niece before knowing she's here. But now that he's confronting with the truth, it appears Bai Zhongping was starting to get the cold feet instead. What would she do if I tell her right away about our relationship? Maybe she would take it as me trying to use her or something bad. No. I can't let the small little bit of good feelings I built in her eyes to be tarnished over something mediocre like impatience. I must come up with a way to prove our identity with father first. Also, it will also avoid those other people within the medicine sect from saying those irresponsible remarks. The man's head churned with ideas, his eyes nervous and unsure when meeting the baby boy's eye. Xiaoqin, I like to ask you a question. What if your mother suddenly discovers she has another grandfather? Would she accept him? Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Well, that's of course if this grandfather likes me a lot. Blinking his big innocent eyes, Bai Xiaoqin tilts his head like he's a tad confused by the strange question. Mother would surely like him as well if that's the case. Bai Zhongping became rather speechless over this answer. It's too straightforward. Xiaoqin, your great-grandfather would surely like you, just that your mother, I have a way, Bai Zhongping's eye flashed with glee. As long as Xiaoqin you help me get a close intimate object from your mother, even a strand of hair will do, then I can do that. Will you help Grandpa Zhongping in the task? Even if the man himself was already sure of Bai Yan's identity to a certain degree, but merely recognizing the girl back into the family wouldn't be enough. His main objective lies in gifting the entire medicine sect to the girl. In that case, he must stuff up the mouths of those old-timers first using a special method. Blood mixing won't prove anything, he knows that much. Really? The boy's eye lit up as well. Then Grandpa Zhongping can help find my mother's relative? I can only give it a try. In addition, this is a secret between us. Don't tell your mother first. Rubbing that little head, the man's expression shined with gentle warmth. Okay. Giving a serious nod, Bai Xiaoqin then became troubled while he bit his lip. But Grandpa Zhongping, would you? Let's say if your daughter was bullied by someone, would you hate those people? You must get justice for me, 1. First taking a casual sip from her tea, Bai Yan then revealed a shallow smile at the impudent girl. What do you think? Then I will not beat around the bush. Taking a seat of her own volition, Ying cluelessly starts making a demand. Don't you think you should invite me to a drink as well? Without manners, the girl went ahead to make a grab for the other cup on the table. There are only 2 cups in the room in total. Aside from the one being used already, there's only one other remaining on the table, meaning it belongs to a certain silver-haired man. Naturally, Ying knew that point. That's why her lips were showing a marvelous smile like the spring's breeze at being able to share the same cup as that man. However, just when the girl's about to make contact with the cup, Bai Yan had grabbed it off of the tray and smashed it onto the ground. Sorry, my hand is slipped. Still showing her shallow smile like it's nothing's happened in light of that blatant act of rudeness, the enchanting woman then brought out a handkerchief for her foe like someone pitying a beggar. Miss, you wouldn't be here for my child's father, are you? Hand slip? Che. Sneering in her heart, Ying wanted to laugh at the competition over her lack of openness. Suppressing the inner rage, she got straight to the point. That's right, I am here for that man. I am not the hypocritical type, so I will admit it in front of you. I fell in love with him after the first time I laid eyes on him. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. If it was the average person, one would certainly fall into a panic when a love rival comes knocking at their door. However, unfazed and glowing stronger than ever, the enchanting woman that's known as Bai Yan has never been known to back down from a challenge. Knowing she's messed up after not get a reaction, Ying now clues in on her own folly. She's underestimated the woman. Lady, sucking in a deep breath, she continues to use her calm voice. Loving a person isn't about possession, it's to think about what's good for the other half. I'm sure you know about my position within the medicine sect. If you release him, then it may not be necessarily a bad thing. Chuckling, if you want to get him, then let me offer you a good solution. Just go find him, why bother coming to see me? If so, wouldn't that give him the notoriety of throwing away his wife and child? Showing a frown, Yi Ying turns all aggressive like she's spouting justice. How can you bear to have him shoulder such a bad name? So, are you claiming you have a better solution? Though still smiling, Bai Yan's iris had gotten cold like a vicious predator now. I do, trying hard to hide that nefarious grin from her face. Miss, I'm sure you love your husband very much, so you would do anything for him, am I right? Now this got quite interesting. Not speaking at all, she awaits what this impudent girl wants to say. I have an older brother, only slightly older than you. If you are willing to sacrifice yourself, then I can match the two of you together. At the time, don't you believe the outcome would be better suited for everyone? Now this was just downright hilarious, causing Bai Yan to spill tears of mockery at the foe. So your meaning is to have me collude with your brother first. This way the world could sympathize with Di Tsong's act of abandoning me and my son. By then, you will step in to show your love, allowing the world to praise you about your kind-heartedness? You must get justice for me too. Bai Yan's words may be blunt and direct, however, it also pointed out the impudent girl's real intent with no wiggle room for excuses. It's true my meaning is like that, but why is it that I've been turned into a heinous witch coming out of this woman's mouth? Yi Ying furrows that brow like she's perplexed by the situation. Am I not doing this for the sake of us both? The man would immediately become extraordinary after marriage, and this woman would also transform from a chicken into a peacock by marrying my brother. And the payment? Merely a title of being a wretched wife who cheated behind her husband's back. What's wrong with that? Compared to the benefits, anyone would know what to choose in this case. Lady, you... The girl's expression darkened somewhat. She wanted to say more after that momentary silence, but it appears the opposition was done listening. Yi Ying, your plan is very good indeed. The benefits are all yours and the bad are dumped onto another. However, unfortunately for you, I am not a person who would be taken advantage of. Lady, going cold in her complexion as well. I never thought you are such a person. Your man must have been blinded. If it was me in your position, then I would have gladly obliged this request. It's all for his sake. If one doesn't even know how to make sacrifices, then how can one talk about love? You do not deserve him. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Oh, is that your opinion? Bai Yan wanted to laugh but held it in to form a smirk instead. As it so happens, he actually needs a favor at this very moment. It's not difficult at all for you, in fact. All it requires of you is to scram out of here. Would you be willing to oblige? From green to gleaming red, Yi Ying's facade finally crumbles to reveal her true menacing nature. Don't push your luck. Not going to be trampled while on her own turf, Bai Yan has gotten up from her chair. Slowly strolling over to the girl in question, the woman's aura increased exponentially until it's almost oppressive. I have already been very kind to you out of consideration for Bai Zhongping's sake. Otherwise, you wouldn't have even made it one step into my room. In addition, I have something else to tell you. Halting in her footstep, she sneers at the impudent girl who's glaring fire. Firstly, I am not stupid enough to sacrifice myself for someone whom I believe is not worthy of me. Why should I as a woman sacrifice myself for the sake of a man just because the world deems it worthy? Secondly, I will not relinquish my man to another if I have chosen him. Nor would I believe he would betray me for another. Thirdly, the cup just now is used by my little pet to drink water, but my pet is too clean and your breath is too dirty, that's why I smashed it. You are too polluted to taint his stuff. In order to prove Bai Yan's claim, Little Rice immediately followed up with a meow sound of his own to show off the disgusted opinion he had of the girl in green. You impudent wench. No matter how good of a facade she has, no matter how good of a control freak she was, there's no way Yi Ying could remain unfazed after that insult. Her voice was downright screaming like a woman yelling out at the market. You came to the medicine sect to attend the alchemy convention. You want to see the sorts of methods I have to make it so you can't enter it? Okay, I am waiting. Smirking with ridicule at the ignorant fool, Bai Yan lazily leans against the room pillar next to herself like she didn't have a care in the world. A blatant act of dismissing someone, which clearly worked based on how receptively livid Yi Ying was. Humph. Huffing a heavy grunt, it took a good minute for the girl in green to recompose herself. Since you've said it to such a degree, then I won't continue to linger in your presence. But remember this, I will definitely make you regret today's decision. In addition, your man, he will definitely become mine. That said, she promptly stomps away without looking back. Hold on. Unconsciously, a smug grin escapes the girl upon hearing the voice from behind. What, regret it? Unfortunately for the impudent fool that's known as Yi Ying, her words didn't even have a chance to finish before a flying kick of a foot landed right smack into her chest, sending that body flying out across the air like a rice sack. Until the very last second, the girl still couldn't believe what she was experiencing. The only thing she could see was Bai Yan's peerless contour slowly shrinking from view and the disbelieving fact that she's been assaulted. The imminent start of the convention for, not long after the little stir, an elder soon took the stage after most of the attendees have arrived to participate. It is Elder CEO Wang. Elder CEO Wang is one of the few 7th-grade alchemists within the medicine sect. To think someone so prestigious would be in charge of overseeing the alchemy conference today. Though many were surprised by the new entry, but more than that, their eyes were filled with awe and worship instead. That's a 7th-grade alchemist master. Most wouldn't ever reach such a height in their entire lifetime. Elder CEO Wang. Just as the prestigious elder got partway up the stage, Yi Ying's shallow voice had come from behind. I was just wondering, mind if I make a request from you? I know I am inexperienced, but may I know if I can be the host instead this time? Not only was this girl the Lord's distant relative, he's also heard of the rumor regarding the young Lord Bai Zhongping taking the girl as his daughter. By then, perhaps the entire medicine sect would be inherited by the lass. Faced with such a prospect, how could he dare oppose such figure? Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. That's wonderful. Yi Ying raises a smirky grin. This time our medicine sect invited only the capable. There are no idling individuals among its ranks, I believe. Therefore, it's safe to assume each sect in power came with a whole team as well as their chief alchemist. In order to avoid wasting time, anyone without an invitation or team should be excluded from participating in the event. The girl's smile deepened further after giving away her intent. She's investigated already prior to today. Bai Yan only came with her family and no one else. If that's the case, her new rules should automatically exclude the woman. That's what you get for going against me time and time again. I like to see how you will return home and explain yourself to your sect. It must be said, any who could come participate are outstanding individuals with either a certain level of background or skill. To forcibly kick any of them out meant it's a direct offense to both the individual and the Lord himself. Elder CEO Wang, returning to a harmless smile. I am also doing this for the sake of the convention. After all, there's only so many days for everyone to go over the Dan pill recipes we prepared. In order to avoid wasting energy on the useless, we should just remove this variable altogether. Besides, the whole point of the alchemy convention is to gather the power of the masses, is it not? What could a single individual possibly have to offer? Though a tad reluctant to agree with this idea, CEO Wang nevertheless nodded his head. Miss Yi Ying is very reasonable. Very well, each participating faction can leave behind 10 alchemists to attend. Any more or any less shall be omitted. He's got the news already when the messenger came to him, that the Lord himself wouldn't come attend the convention. Therefore, even if he does go along with Yi Ying's request, none would ask about it afterwards. What's more, he's only doing this for the sake of the medicine sect. There should be no room to question his decision later. You must get justice for me for... Old Madam Yi steals her heart. Okay, I will go to him. Even if I have to use that bitch Li Jing's sister name again, I will have him agree to our demands. In this world, how can one not help relative over outsiders? Brother-in-law isn't befuddled to such a degree. Unfortunately for her though, it appears Bai Chongfeng was fully intent on avoiding this dreaded shrew at all costs. No matter what she did or what she tried, the guards refuses to waver. Back inside the study. The old lord of the medicine sect was currently painfully rubbing his temple as he sighed helplessly. These people really are endless. Since you already said you won't take Yi Ying as your daughter, then it should have been the end of it. Why can't they understand when to back off? Smiling wryly as well, Bai Zhongping attempts to soothe his old man's woes. Father, you don't have to see them. Even if your feelings for mother is deep, it still doesn't excuse them for their unending nagging. No one should put up with them. Son, how are things going with your investigation? And, when is she coming? Bai Chongfeng's voice sounded tense, his eyes whimpering with concern. Naturally, Bai Zhanping would know who his old man was referring to. The messenger I sent returned with word that the girl is currently away from home. As to whether or not she is my sister's daughter, I can say with almost certainty now. From my investigation, that daughter of the Lan house did in fact know someone by the name of Bai Ning years ago, just that her family doesn't know if it's one and the same. Inhaling deeply, he continues with exasperated breath. Though Ninger isn't with us anymore, but at least her blood can after so long. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Ever since he first laid eyes on Bai Yan, he has had an emotional yearning for the girl. It urged him, propelled him to get close to her. If that's not the effect of their blood being one and the same, then what else? Pang! The cup in the old lord's hand shatters as he dropped it from his hand. Perhaps it's due to the answer being so fitting to his heart, but the trickling tears could no longer be contained as he burst into a bellowing laugh. Jinger wife, it must be you watching over us. Now your granddaughter will soon be at home. That is my granddaughter. No one can compare with her. Now my line will have a third-generational heir. By this stage Bai Chongfeng's very old hands were shaking. In fact, the trembling was so bad that he couldn't even manage to get a grip on the second teacup. When can I meet my granddaughter, my son? Will she like a grandfather like me? Oh right, you said she has a child now. Will her son like a great-grandfather like me? No matter what, we did remain oblivious to their existence for all these years. The elder's appearance looked no different from that of an insecure child, asking this and asking that. Father, she is a good child as well as her son. I'm sure they wouldn't hate you. That's good then, heaving a sigh of relief, Bai Chongfeng rubs his hand nervously like an unsettled child. Then suddenly jerking up from his chair like he remembered something important. Oh no! I must prepare something for my granddaughter and great-grandson. What's your opinion? Should I hand over my medicine vault to them or my entire medicine sect instead? She's not lacking in medicinal ingredients, so you might as well hand over this place. Bai Zhanping's expression grew meaningful. The middle-aged man's intent was very simple. As long as he's free of the burden at home, then he could run off in search of his sister. She is the disciple of the Holy Land too. Rubbing her chin, Bai Yan looked like she's contemplating something. We can just say the medicine sect bullied us and kept us from attending. If your grandchiefs want to make a ruckus for that, then just let them come in person. Yi Ying immediately sneered with contempt after hearing that outrageous comment. Who would dare come make trouble at the medicine sect? How laughable. This woman is really too arrogant. Okay, mother, let's go home then. I don't want to give this old witch an opportunity to snatch me away. Absolutely adorable in his voice, the little steam bun looked nothing like the little devil that he was not long ago. Pity though, Yi Ying has already become the goddaughter of the young lord here. No matter how sympathetic they are of the mother and son, they had neither the influence nor power to stop the outcome. Now, without any more hindrance or care, Bai Yan slowly turned away with her son in hand. She looked nothing like someone facing defeat, rather that of a winner in how calm and proud her demeanor was. Then all of a sudden, her eyes narrowed as the contour of a handsome young man's face came into sight. Yan. Filled with excitement in that voice, the youngster who owned the voice quickly made a dash for that enchanting red figure in an attempt to give her a hearty hug. Unfortunately for this newcomer, the only response he got was a foot in front of his face and sending him flying as a result. Oh Yan, you are still the same as before, always so cruel. Landing on his ass, the youngster's eye tears up over the horrible treatment. Oh, she is so cruel. Ever since I lost to her in that contest and became her subordinate, she's never seen me again. Even worse, she just dumped a bunch of people in my hands and told me to train them. How can someone be so rude and not caring? Oh wait, that's not quite right. Yan did come see me a couple of months ago and taught me a lesson in alchemy. Uncle Wenru, it's been a long time. Waving at the youngster, Bai Xiaochen smiles kindly at the poor man. According to his memory, the little steam bun was only 3 years old when they met, a baby still. In a blink of an eye, the little kid has grown up to be a pre-teen. Wenru, what are you doing here? Raising a smile, Bai Yan shakes her head at this silly subordinate of hers. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Oh, I was going to find you and give you the invitation letter. But when I went to the flower brothel and asked around, Hualuo told me you were gone. That's why I rushed over to the medicine sect after hearing you were around. Taking out the invitation letter from his pocket, Wenru readily hands over the item to Bai Yan, thus attracting the attention of everyone nearby. This is the invitation for the convention? Sounding unsure, Elder Xia Wang sharply swept his gaze over to the reddish figure. Why do you have 2 invitation slips? 2 invitation letter? This is impossible. The medicine sect would never make such a blunder and would most certainly not hand a single person 2 invites. If so, there's only one possibility then. The woman here, she did not bring an invitation letter with her in the first place and secretly snuck inside without authorization. Giving a shrug at the senior's questioning gaze, Bai Yan also found it surprising. How strange, the invite slip I have is from my Shifus, so who sent me this one then? Suddenly, a certain name came jumping out at the bottom of her consciousness, Bai Zhanping. She is the disciple of the Holy Land 3. If Bai Zhanping didn't know I was a member of the Holy Land, then this is all justifiable. Yan, did I do something wrong? Blinking his eyes, Wenru asks in an innocent tone. It's all right, I'm merely caught off guard that I had another invite slip. No matter though. Showing a cold smile, Bai Yan gives it a second before continuing. Even if they sent me more of this, I'm already past it and would rather leave. As soon as her words came out, she was already walking forward again with her son. The voice faint and uninterested. Wenru, let's go. Befuddled by the strangeness, the youngster hurried to catch up. Did someone bully you and Xianxia? If so, then tell me. I will beat them up for you. No need. Someone else will naturally come settle the bill once they learned of me being unable to attend. Showing a grin, Bai Yan dismisses the offer and continued onward. Hold it! Just as Bai Yan was about to leave, a cold hollering voice stops her from behind. Miss, you can't go. Is there something? You coming without an invitation is our medicine sect's fault, but you must stay behind to help with our investigation regardless. Elder CEO Wang's attitude was stern and unyielding, evident of how serious he was about all this. Did you not hear? I have 2 invitations. Ho ho, the senior dismisses the idea with a laugh. How could that be? There's no way we would make such a mistake. Miss, I hope you. Before his last words could even finish, the target of his restriction has already pulled out an invitation from her pocket as well as the one from Wenru. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. I'm returning your invite slips. Son, let's go home before these people get annoying. At the same time, 2 perfectly fine flat objects were thrown in front of his face, the golden glinted words burning the elder's eye in doing so. For that split second, his breathing literally stopped as his heart pounded away. CEO Wang could see it clearly. There's no illusion. One was just an ordinary invite slip they sent to the regular powers, but the second one that was pulled out of the woman's pocket had the words of Holy directly imprinted on the surface. Holy Land. Why the sudden change and why a young disciple at that? Elder CEO Wang? Noticing the panic in the senior's eye, Ying bites down on her own lips and asked, What happened? Oh crap. At this time the senior could care less what Ying wanted. Seeing how Bai Yan and her son's about to leave, he promptly picked up the invite slips and made a hard dash at the 2. Miss, please wait. Stopping for a second time, Bai Yan's tone grew impatient and irritated. I've already returned the invite slips, what else do you want? You can stay. Flushing in embarrassment, CEO Wang blurts this out. This girl's the disciple of the Holy Land. Even if she's the most insignificant of the kind, she's still the representative for that power. How ironic, I nearly expelled the disciple from the Holy Land when I should be catering to her every need. Making a sneer after seeing the slips in the elder's hand, Bai Yan's voice remains cold and indifferent. Apologies, but I've lost interest in this alchemy convention. You! Turning slightly white in his face, CEO Wang wanted to slap the girl at the rude answer. Don't this girl know when to stop? I've already lowered myself to such a degree. She is the disciple of the Holy Land for. Miss, you going back like this wouldn't be very good. Aren't you afraid of being blamed by your elders? Oh, Bai Yan replies in a mild tone, but I'm still not interested in this convention. Then what would it take to make you stay? CEO Wang choked. Still, he said what must be said. It was hard-won, the senior, no doubt, but his words were like a bomb, raising waves among the crowds who were stunned by the meaning. Just now, didn't he want to expel the woman out? What's going on? Why ask her to stay all of a sudden? Of course, Bai Yan would notice the foe's expression. Making a smirky grin. Have her beg me. Miss Bai, you are too much. Turning green at the demand, Ying hurries to seek help. Elder CEO, you wouldn't be a dotard, right? You are sure of this? Squeezing his hand into a fist, CEO Wang's gaze flickered with a flash of coldness. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. If the medicine sect holds no sincerity, then that's fine, I can just take my leave. Leaving nothing but a fleeting smile, Bai Yan once again turns away. Fine. Drawing in a deep heavy breath, the elder shifts his sight onto the source of all this mess. Miss Ying, ask her to stay. What? Widening her eyes in dismay, Ying couldn't believe what she's hearing. She is a disciple of the Holy Land. If we were to drive her away, then it's the same as face-slapping the other side. Once the matter returns to their side, it would inevitably cause discord among both sides. Bang! Like the foolish girl, the entire venue had also fallen into an eerie silence over the news. Elder CEO Wang, she is really a disciple of the Holy Land? Ying faintly asks, her skin pale and lifeless. Heaving a long breath at the question, the invitation is indeed the one we sent to the Holy Land. The fact that she's carrying it is proof. There's no mistake. The tides have changed once again, shifting over to the losing side following words of this prestigious elder. Originally, a lot of the attendees were feeling sorry for Bai Yan and her son, but now, it simply shocks at the incredible news. Miss Ying, the woman came on behalf of the Holy Land. Understanding the unwillingness in Yi Ying's eye, the senior hurried to persuade the girl by lowering his voice. If it becomes known that we expelled someone like that and the Lord learns of this, your granduncle would surely be outraged. Biting that lip, the shuddering girl didn't answer and continued to hold her ground. But, the fact that the Holy Land would send her alone and without any masters to escort is proof that she's merely a person of no importance. Perhaps this is the Holy Land's way of showing respect to us since they've repeatedly rejected the invite before. So, her background and identity couldn't possibly be more noble than yours. The last sentence there was what Ying wanted to hear the most. One was the most insignificant of existent while the other was the distant relative of the medicine sect. It's obvious which one would be more noble in terms of status quo at the end of the day. Humph. Just you wait. I will return this favor one day. The wretched girl vows inwardly, swearing she would get revenge. Miss Bai. Squeezing her feministic fingers into a crunching ball, Ying forces a rigid smile as she made a deep bow. It was my fault in being inconsiderate and not noticing your identity as the Holy Land's disciple. With sincere hope, I implore you to stay following my apology. Bullying someone? Who doesn't know how? 1. Responding with a faint turn of her head. What a shame, I still want to leave. Bai Yan never had any interest in this alchemy convention to begin with. If not for her 3 Shifa's sake and demanding attitude to attend, the woman here would have just ignored it completely. But not everyone's going to take this toying lightly. Showing a grim face, the elder in charge immediately lashed out. You! Miss Ying have already lowered herself into apologizing. Is this how the disciples of the Holy Land do things? When it reached the last part of that sentence, CEO Wang obviously said it with intense force, losing all forms of his majestic temperament for being an elder. You! CEO Wang's expression shifted from red to green at the play of words. Indeed, she only said to beg and nothing about promising to stay. Mother! Just as Bai Yan's about to leave for real, Bai Xiaochen suddenly tugged at her sleeve, his eyes flickering with light. I want you to see you win the championship for this convention though. It wasn't easy for him to plan out the good show. To leave like this without doing anything would of course cause some reluctance within the baby boy. At the very least, not until they destroy Yi Ying's reputation first. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Son, you want the crown for this contest? Surprised by the demand, she looks down to be confronted by a pair of foxy eyes. All right, mother will take it for you. As long as it's my son who wants it, then I will bring it to him. When Ru, who was still by their side, had become speechless over this full turnaround. Yen, is it good to be so doting of Xiaochen like this? What happened to leaving? But then again, I really want to be Yan's child as well now. Oh, what do I do? Thank you, mother. Blooming a brilliant smile, Bai Xiaochen's dazzling glow could overshadow even the darkest night in the woman's eye right now. But cuteness aside, Elder CEO Wang was more concerned with the fact that the pair would stay. Relaxing his facial muscles, he sneers in contempt. Miss Bai, I suggest you think more clearly. The crown for this competition isn't something you can get just by saying so. Smirking at that advice, Bai Yan first confronts the senior's eye, then finally fell upon Yi Ying's body. Whether or not Bai Zhanping is willing to accept you as his goddaughter is still undecided. Aren't you afraid he would hear of you spreading rumors around without his permission? The implication of that was she didn't want to be the lady of the medicine sect, rather it's due to her uncle's respect for her grandmother that brought on this outcome. In that case, who else could question her position? Miss Yi Ying, hold your words with her lest she defiles your prestigious status. It's just that Xiao Wang's didn't have the nerve to say the last bit upon making contact with the woman's gaze. Her temper is so big, she might just turn around and leave if I annoy her. But even if he didn't say it, there's no need. Everyone present could easily understand his meaning. Bullying someone? Who doesn't know how? 2. Indeed, as one of the 3 major forces out there, one woman was the lady of the medicine sect while the other remains a small little disciple. In terms of importance, it's obvious which weighs more at the end. A humph. Coughing like he's clearing his throat, CEO Wang continues like he's not responsible for that downgrading comment. I won't bother explaining the extra stuff so everyone can just head on inside. The accommodations have already been prepared ahead of time. Boom. The attendees were exploding with excitement at this moment. Even the medicine sect is having trouble creating some of these recipes? Holy hell, what sort of recipes are they? Of course, some of these Dan pill recipes are relatively simple and shouldn't pose a problem for many of you. Raising a faint grin, CEO Wang opens his arms wide into a welcoming posture. In 3 days' time, whoever can discern the most recipes will be the winner of this competition. I wish you all luck. The reason why the medicine sect could remain so powerful all these years was due to the fact that they are in control of special place, where it would spill out different unknown recipes during the year. As for this convention, it's merely a pinky's worth of insight to what they truly hold. No matter how generous they are, these people aren't going to bring out their true treasures. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Elder CEO Wang. Please allow me to take it from here for the arrangements. All smiles in her face. Yi Ying then shoots a wink at her follower. Understanding the meaning behind that, the one known as Yi Ling swiftly began to move, leading the attendees to their arranged rooms. CEO Wang naturally knew what the girl intended to do, but he didn't move. Showing an uninterested face, the elder agreed with Yi Ying's idea of tempering the arrogant woman's attitude. Just that, he seems to have dismissed the fact that the woman they are targeting was Bai Yan and not anyone else. Without surprise, the reaction was a direct turnaround as soon as it became apparent what sort of living arrangements were store. Now this was troubling. In truth, Yi Ying only wanted her follower to arrange the worst rooms for Bai Yan and her companions. Who could have guessed the dumb old fart that's known as Yi Ling would try to push a shack that's meant for the firewood instead? Apparently the idiocy running through the first brother also runs through the younger one here as well. Understanding he's messed up big time upon seeing how easily Bai Yan was turning away, Yi Ling wanted to scream out at the woman to make her stop. However, he still hasn't forgotten the fact that the opposition was the disciple of the Holy Land. Suppressing his anger, Miss Bai, our medicine sect don't have any extra rooms left. Why don't you just stay in the shack for now? It won't do any harm anyways. Not budging an inch, Bai Yan's attitude was very determined and walked straight past the senior that's trying to block her path. Now he could no longer keep up the facade. Falling into a urgent panic, Yi Ling's only recourse was to get on his knee. Miss Bai, please don't leave, I am wrong. I will arrange the proper accommodations for you this time. It wasn't easy for Elder CEO Wang and her ladyship to keep this woman from leaving. If I botch this and ruin everything, I would become the greatest sinner of the medicine sect. And the sect leader, his lordship would definitely kill me. But that not only didn't work, it only brought on a wave of cold laughter from Bai Yan. From start to end, she had never once looked at the bumbling old fool. Regret. It's too late to make regrets now. Before long, the ruckus happening on this end had reached CEO Wang's ear, who quickly became outraged at the news. Bullying someone? Who doesn't know how? 3. At first his thoughts did coincide with Yi Ying's and intended to leave the worst room they had for Bai Yan and her companions. However, worst was worst, that's nowhere close to being a shack for the firewood. Wouldn't that be the same as embarrassing the medicine sect if words got out? What's more, CEO Wang's frustration had long been brewing within his stomach due to Bai Yan's repeated vexing. Now that Yi Ling was dumb enough to tap into that rage, It's obvious the consequences would be dire, evident by how ruthless and hard he was whipping that stick at the one responsible for this mess. Seeing how it's about time to intervene lest someone actually dies, Bai Yan finally steps in. However, her sneer remains the same despite her soft-heartedness. Want me to stay? That's possible. I believe Yi Ying's room is not bad. If she is willing to move out and let me take it, then I will agree to stay. Oh yes, by the way, the ingredients that I'm going to be using is not bad. I want 100 portions of every kind sent to my room. Miss Bai, you are asking for too much. You don't agree? Then that's fine as well. Shrugging her shoulder like she didn't care. Son, let's go back to the Holy Land. When your grandchiefess ask about this, then we can tell them we were driven out of the medicine sect by Yi Ying, the young lady of the medicine sect. That immediately caused a twitch in CEO Wang's face. Damn this woman, using the Holy Land to threaten me again. As resentful as he was, the elder really couldn't afford to let her return like this. Fine, I accept your demand. By this point his eyes were burning with fire as if he wants to tear Yi Ling apart. If not for this idiot, then this woman wouldn't have had the chance to speak. Bai Yan didn't mind the glare shooting her way. Rather, she's quite relishing in the attention. And as if her demands weren't enough, that sly smile of hers only emphasized the villainous nature that's in her bones. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. And don't forget to arrange Yi Ying's room for me. Oh, forget it. I will go myself and do it instead. Just tell me the way. Also, I don't like sharing my place of rest with strangers. Aside from my people, I will not allow anyone else to trespass. This nearly made the elder explode. If not for CEO Wang's people rushing over to hold him back, then who knows what sort of act the old fellow would have done. Is this still a guest coming to attend the alchemy convention? My God, she's acting more like the young lady around here instead of Yi Ying. It's not that elder CEO Wang was afraid of Bai Yan as a person. Rather, it's her background that's keeping him from acting. No matter how small of a disciple she was, the woman still represented the Holy Land here today. Son, although her room is not very good compared to our home in the Holy Land, but it's only for 3 days. Once it's over, then we can go home, so bear with it for now. Transforming from her cold indifference, Bai Yan's attitude could only be called brilliant and warm once speaking to her boy. Nodding like a sensible child, Bai Xiachen readily agrees. I don't mind, mother. As long as I'm living with you, then any room will do. Talk about being candid. Because of the pair's downgrading words, CEO Wang's face first shifted from green, then blue, then finally into a purple shade at the insult. She really dared to say that. How can Yi Ying's room be worse than the residence of a mere disciple from the Holy Land? If you're going to brag, then at least listen to yourself first. Thank goodness such people aren't part of the medicine sect, otherwise, who knows how much misfortune would befall everyone here. Bullying someone? Who doesn't know how? 4. Oh, thank goodness that nightmare is finally gone. One of the members of the medicine sect heaves a breather, relieved that Bai Yan's out of sight. Which part of her is gone, you idiot? CEO Wang reprimands the disciple with a grunt. That woman is still staying here for another 3 days. Who knows what could happen in this time frame? That instantly causes the individual to go ghastly white. His expression right now was no different from someone confronted with the end of the world. At this moment within the exquisite room, a young maiden in a succulent dress was currently sitting on a table and sipping tea. How come Yi Ling isn't back yet? But just as the maidservant was about to answer that question, the door to her room was suddenly smashed open and in came the stunning figure. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Who allowed you to come here? Slamming the table, she immediately jerks up from her seat and roars out. In return, Bai Yan only sneered. Throw her things out and change the quilt sheets for me. You dare! This bitch wants to steal my room? Who does she think she is? Yi Ying's face was livid as she eyed Bai Yan and the disciple leading the way. Who allowed you to bring her? The disciple faltered at the interrogation, murmuring and too afraid to meet the woman's eye. Thankfully, Bai Yan didn't intend to leave the matter alone and stepped in instead. CEO Wang has already given me your room. Now, pack up your things and get out. The response was a nervous nod, which the person quickly explained about everything that's occurred thus far. As a result of this, Yi Ying's expression only grew increasingly ugly as she gripped her fingers into a tight-knit ball. Damn that Yi Ling, this useless garbage. Not only did he screw up the simple task, He also enraged Elder CEO Wang. Who doesn't know that CEO Wang's most passionate about the medicine sect? If they really made this woman leave, then it's the same as insulting the Holy Land. And if that happens, would the Holy Land let the matter rest? Obviously not. That means the one to suffer has to be me. Thinking of this, Yi Ying's chest started to heave up and down, indicating how much of a grievance this turn of event was for her. A fate is one's own doing, and the world will know of this. What you did to me today, I will return it all one day. Don't even think about begging me when that moment comes. I am Bai Zhanping's distant niece, and she? If not for the alchemy convention, this blasted woman would have died 1,000 times over. I am returning the sentence right back at you. Cold in her smile, Bai Yan eyes the girl like she's seeing a fool. However, even if you begged me on the floor by then, I still won't let you go. If you dare to scheme against me, then you better be ready to pay the price. Humph. Huffing a snort, Yi Ying immediately waltzed out of the room like a high-standing peacock. However, her pride only lasted right up to the doorway and out of sight where nothing but grievance remains on that face. Miss, what should we do now? Asked the maid that's with the girl. Cold in her eyes. We're leaving. I refuse to believe my granduncle would turn a blind eye to this after I'm insulted to such a degree. She originally wanted to go call on her grandmother to help, but that idea quickly got squashed after recalling how useless old Madame Yi was at her core. Acting all around for Uncle Mo, following the disappearance of his friend's fleeting back, Bai Xiaochen then shifts his gaze back over to the teen. I really like you, do you like me as well? That face couldn't be any more friendly and innocent as he spoke initially. Emily Shang was rather stunned by the boy's proactive initiative. Nevertheless, he composes himself to answer. Of course. Do you really like me as well, Xiaochen? Aha, I really do. Giving an earnest nod as confirmation. I've always wanted another uncle. Why don't Uncle Mo become my real uncle? Looking at the big watery eyes of the little steam bun, Emily Shang's brain didn't even need to think and nodded without forethought. Yes, I will be your uncle. Uncle, I like you so very much. Gleefully brilliant in that face, Bai Xiaochen readily jumps into the teen's embrace. However, that glee quickly changed into a scheming fox once out of sight. If Uncle Mo becomes my uncle, then he would become Mother's younger brother. That means in the future he won't be able to threaten Baddie Father's position. What's more, we will then be another step closer to going into the demon realm. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Oh crap. As if suddenly recalling something important, the teen exclaims out of nowhere. Uncle, are you regretting it? Bai Xiaochen mutters pitifully, his eyes showing grievance. No, it's not. I seem to have forgotten about Piggy. Not far from the main aisle, a certain pink piggy was currently trying hard to gain the attention of the public by crying and wiping those tears with a handkerchief. Sadly for him though, the surrounding crowds doesn't seem to be all that interested and soon dispersed. Where is the people? Why are they all gone? Did I not perform up to standard? Hey, don't leave. Oh wait. Where is Master? All sluggish in his gaze, Piggy had to take a good minute to come to terms with the truth. He's been abandoned. At the same time over at Molly Shang's end, the teen was showing an annoyed yet apologetic face. Xiaochen, wait here for me, okay? Don't run around, I will first go find Piggy and come back. Damn it, I actually forgot something as important as this. Piggy is so timid, he must be so scared right now. Okay, hurrying a nod with that little head. Don't worry about me, uncle, I can wait here while you go look for Piggy. You are so good, Xiaochen, I'm going now. Giving the boy a rub on the head, Emily Shang then dashed towards the direction in which he came. Now, alone since both of his companions are gone, Bai Xiaochen could only kick the nearby rocks around due to how bored he was. You are Xiaochen? Just then, an ecstatic voice suddenly came from behind. Grandpa Zhanping? Blinking his eyes in surprise, the little steam bun didn't expect to see this familiar person here at this time. Regarding Bai Zhanping, the boy did have a good impression of the handsome man due to him staying at their home during the treatment. But now, thanks to the influence of Yi Ying's distasteful deeds during the past few days, Bai Xiaochen's fondness had dipped to a new low. Grandfather Zhanping, I should go find mother now, so bye-bye. In the heart of the boy, no one could be more important than Bai Yan. Therefore, he holds no remorse for humiliating Yi Ying, just that it meant he would be in a dilemma when facing this man. The imminent start of the convention 1. Xiaoqin, you don't want to see me? Hurt to the point where his heart aches terribly, Bai Zhongping asks with sadness in his voice. No, it's not like that, the boy hurries to reply after seeing the man's reaction. I also like Grandpa Zhongping a lot. Then why do you want to leave as soon as you saw me? Not answering for the longest time, Bai Xiaoqin took a good minute before he could make up his mind. Grandpa Zhongping, I won't leave, don't worry. Now that was all the man needed to hear. Smiling all over, this young lord of the medicine sect only wanted to grab this little steam bun and give him the biggest hug of all times. In fact, if he could kidnap the boy and keep him here forever, then it would be even better knowing he's his grandnephew. Xiaoqin, your mother, is she also here as well? Bai Zhongping hurries to ask. Blinking his eyes at the inquiry, Bai Xiaoqin faintly nods in confirmation. Aha, mother is at the main avenue. Do you want to meet her? It's absolutely true, the man here wanted to meet his niece before knowing she's here. But now that he's confronting with the truth, it appears Bai Zhongping was starting to get the cold feet instead. What would she do if I tell her right away about our relationship? Maybe she would take it as me trying to use her or something bad. No. I can't let the small little bit of good feelings I built in her eyes to be tarnished over something mediocre like impatience. I must come up with a way to prove our identity with father first. Also, it will also avoid those other people within the medicine sect from saying those irresponsible remarks. The man's head churned with ideas, his eyes nervous and unsure when meeting the baby boy's eye. Xiaoqin, I like to ask you a question. What if your mother suddenly discovers she has another grandfather? Would she accept him? Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Well, that's of course if this grandfather likes me a lot. Blinking his big innocent eyes, Bai Xiaoqin tilts his head like he's a tad confused by the strange question. Mother would surely like him as well if that's the case. Bai Zhongping became rather speechless over this answer. It's too straightforward. Xiaoqin, your great-grandfather would surely like you, just that your mother, If he likes me, then that's all good. There's no problem then. However, the premise must be that he's my great-grandfather. Biting his thumb, the boy appears puzzled now. Where is my great-grandfather? Do you know where he is? I know mother would want to find out where my grandmother is. I have a way, Bai Zhongping's eye flashed with glee. As long as Xiaoqin you help me get a close intimate object from your mother, even a strand of hair will do, then I can do that. Will you help Grandpa Zhongping in the task? Even if the man himself was already sure of Bai Yan's identity to a certain degree, but merely recognizing the girl back into the family wouldn't be enough. His main objective lies in gifting the entire medicine sect to the girl. In that case, he must stuff up the mouths of those old-timers first using a special method. Blood mixing won't prove anything, he knows that much. Really? The boy's eye lit up as well. Then Grandpa Zhongping can help find my mother's relative? I can only give it a try. In addition, this is a secret between us. Don't tell your mother first. Rubbing that little head, the man's expression shined with gentle warmth. Okay. Giving a serious nod, Bai Xiaoqin then became troubled while he bit his lip. But Grandpa Zhongping, would you? Let's say if your daughter was bullied by someone, would you hate those people? Earth-shattering 333. Not long later, the guard soon returned with another person to stand in front of Bai Chongfeng's presence. Tell me, is there anyone who came to our medicine sect carrying the invitation slip from the Luoho kingdom? Taking a sip from his teacup, the old senior casually asks despite his heart tensing up into a knot. Reporting to sect leader, that there is indeed a person who came with thy item. Try as he might in being respectful, the man's voice nevertheless carried a pang of agitation when speaking. It couldn't be helped. The poor person was nothing more than an individual in charge of watching the entrance gates. The very fact that he could gain an audience with the Lord was a gift in of itself. Snapped. Is it a girl coming from there? Is she beautiful? Where is she? Take me to see her. All excited in his face, the senior jerks up from the chair. Hearing this dumbstruck burst of demand from their lord, the individuals present were all frozen over, their faces disbelieving like realities playing with their ears. It can't be. The lord is going through a second spring because the madam is gone for so long? But no matter what, going after a young maiden not even half his age is too much? Sect leader, gulping hard, the gatekeeper got even more nervous. But the one who came isn't a girl, it's a boy. Boy? Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Something definitely cracked within the old fella's heart. Slouching back down to his chair, Bai Chongfeng's eyes were filled with nothing but decadence and frustration. It's actually not her? She should have received the invitation from Zhanping. Why does she not come to the medicine sect? Is it because she hates us, hates me? At the moment, countless unnecessary thoughts were running through this grandfather's head, making him even more nervous and unsettling to everyone nearby. But she shouldn't have known about Zhanping's background, nor their relationship. So why? SEC sect leader. Shaking right down to his legs upon seeing the ever-increasingly dark face on the old man, the poor gatekeeper could barely keep his words clear. What else? With eyes still ready to kill, Bai Chongfeng's tone sounded unnervingly cold. That is, Miss Yi Ying is seeking an audience outside. Tell her to go. But the miss she... Bang! Slamming his hand against the desk in fuming rage. Who are you calling the miss? My medicine sect have no such miss in my household. Tell her to scram. If not, then I will toss her out myself. Literally popping their eyes, the gatekeeper and the rest didn't understand what's going on. According to their memory, the Lord's attitude towards the Yi family has never been this poor before. What are you still standing there for? Hurry and get out. Or do you want me to kick you out instead? Not giving the poor people a chance to run, Bai Chongfeng has already flown out and sent multiple kicks at these poor servants, but to send them flying. He's been enduring old Madame Ye's outrageous demands over the years due to the bond with his late wife. But now that he's decided not to endure anymore, he has no reason to keep up a good face anymore. Besides, his patience was already wearing thin due to Bai Yan not appearing before him. The fact that these annoying people are coming to bother him at such a time meant it's only natural they face a good chunk of that fury. Miss Yi Ying, don't wait anymore, the Lord isn't going to see you. After being kicked out with the gatekeeper, the guard immediately went before the girl to pass on this message. Just that, instead of being respectful like before, his voice now carried sarcasm and contempt. Sure enough, Yi Ying's complexion instantly got paler. Did you not tell him I've been humiliated? If others humiliate me, then it's the same as humiliating the medicine sect. Does my grand-uncle not care? Earth-shattering 333-4. The guard sneered. What does shaming you have to do with our medicine sect? Do you really take yourself as the lady here? Hurry up and get out of here. As a member of the medicine sect, these gods are of course good at reading the changing tide. Therefore, it's only normal their attitude wouldn't be good once Bai Chongfeng revealed his negative opinion of the Yi family. How dare you talk to me like that? Yi Ying's pretty face finally started to crumble, revealing her twisted side that she's been hiding all along. How dare this small fry talk to me like this? RH. And why wouldn't I dare? Hurry and go, otherwise I will throw you out myself. The Lord doesn't want to see you, so hurry and get scarce. Waving his hand impatiently, the guard acts like he's swatting a fly. Giving one final cold glare at the person, she then waltzes away where the viciousness in her eyes came beaming out. The alchemy convention has already commenced. Therefore, none of the contestants were idling around once the recipes were dispersed by the officials. And of course, Yi Ying wouldn't leave the target of her frustration alone either. She's been having her people spy on the group from afar the entire way. When it became known that Bai Yan had done nothing but sightseeing with her son the entire time, Yi Ying's lip just couldn't resist making a scornful grin. And here I thought the Holy Land would send someone capable over. Turns out it's nothing but a useless individual who doesn't even know anything about alchemy. Miss, do we still need to keep an eye on that woman then? One of the guards in service to the Yi family asks. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. There's no need anymore. She couldn't possibly blow up any wind at the rate she's going. Oh right, what about my useless brother? How is he doing lately? Young master. Aside from eating, drinking and playing, she is otherwise in the backyard with those women. Flushing red from embarrassment, the guard awkwardly explains, showing a sarcastic smirk. He is just as useless. Fortunately, this baggage still holds some value. Whatever, just go down for now. Also, keep your eyes out for my uncle. I want to know if he does anything in this time frame. Yes, milady. Bowing his head, the guard retires to leave the girl alone. Meanwhile, at the same time over at the lower segment of the mountain, two of the gatekeepers were busying chatting with each other like usual. They were bored, so alcohol was their only means of entertainment. Well, That was until they noticed the three beautiful figures quickly walking over to their location. But before the man could further show off his mighty words, one of the girls in a yellow dress have already beaten him to the punch by coming forward. Open your eyes and take a good look at what this is. Dangling the tiny token around, the girl acts all haughty like she owns the place. You are. Initially the gatekeeper was still frowning at the strange demand. It's not the usual way people behave in their presence, but he soon discovered why. Humph. The yellow-dressed girl huffs a grunt and cocks her head high. Can we enter now? Please, please. Shaking all over like he couldn't keep his composure, the gatekeeper and his companion immediately opened up a path. Xiaoyun, cousin, Xiaowan, demon princess. Let's go. Xueqi's expression appears to be a little dejected as she strode past the entrance. I haven't seen Bai Yan for so long. I wonder if she's taken on other favorite sisters lately. I bet she's already forgotten about us because we haven't seen her. Though the remark from the girl was nothing but a casual one with no extra meaning, it did cause Di Xiaowan's heart to crack at the thought. Sister-in-law has other favorite sisters? No. I can't let that happen. She can't like other sisters. War God White Tiger 1. She liking other sisters is the trivial part, Lan Xiaoyun cousin seriously ponders the idea. What's worrying me is cousin being picked up by another man who's too blind to know their place. They wouldn't dare. Di Xiaowan, demon princess, roars, her beautiful face a flushing red. I will rip them apart if they got the nerve to steal her away. Want to steal my sister-in-law? They must be bored of living. Even if I don't tear them apart, my old bro would do it instead. Zheng, what is that token just now? Shouldn't we have examined her some more? What if she's out to do evil? Wouldn't the Lord be angry at us for not doing our jobs? The other companion didn't get a good look, so his curiosity was at a real high, hence the reason for so much questions. The girl just now is the witch from the Holy Land. What? The companion became so shocked that he literally jumped in fright. The princess of the Holy Land? What is she doing here for? We need to report this to the Lord this instant, otherwise we would be in big trouble. Witch was the nickname everyone gave to Xueqi due to her devastating nature to anywhere she visits. That just goes to show the notoriety of her name. The other gatekeeper appears troubled. I was just called by the sect leader earlier. He asked me a load of questions while I was there and stated that no matter what occurs, he's not to be disturbed. I'm not so sure it's a good idea to go against his will. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. When the man spoke of his experience in meeting by Chong Feng, the man's face definitely grew prouder, like he didn't get kicked out or something. Sure enough, his companion immediately showed an envious look. In that case, I will go report this to the rest of the elders. We need to keep the ingredient vault and library safe from the witch's hand. It's no secret that a few years ago Xueqi had burned the great treasury vault of the three chief elders in the Holy Land. Not only did the precious ingredients inside get burned to a crisp, most of the valuable books were also lost as well. Therefore, the first reaction these people had was to secure their valuables in case of the same misfortune happening to themselves. Yes, I go right away. The gatekeeper urgently ran off with sweat still pouring out of his forehead. Inside the main quarters of the medicine sect, Lan Xiaoyun cousin was curiously eyeing the bustling market before her eyes. So this is the legendary medicine sect? Aside from the air being thicker with life energy, it's not much different from the outside world, is it? Of course, Xiaoyun cousin, there is nothing fun about this place. Just wait until you come to my home. I will show you what it really means to be a sacred ground for cultivation. Di Xiaowan, demon princess, scoffs off her friend's word like it's only normal. How can this place compare to the demon realm? I bet the people here couldn't even ascend into the celestial rank of their cultivation. Oh, that's right. Turning her attention over to the cheeky girl, Lan Xiaoyun sounded curious. Xiaowan, you still haven't told us about your home yet. Where is it exactly? War God White Tiger 2. Well, that is. Caressing her own chin, Di Xiaowan got all excited. The place is a real paradise. There are flowers scattered across the mountain as far as the eye can see, and the keeper of the demon mountain is called Suzaku. She's the vermilion bird. Oh yes, I'm not gloating or anything. But not anyone can go there, you know. You have to be like me, who is very close with her, to get permission. For anyone that doesn't know what the vermilion bird is, it's very similar to the phoenix, but its tail feathers are a rainbow color. Think of something like Ho-Oh from Pokemon for a reference. Upon hearing this, Lan Xiaoyun was full of yearning in her eyes, and even Xueqi's opinion has changed about this Dumbaklutz. Vermilion bird? Isn't that one of the legendary sacred beasts of the celestial realm? Does this powerful creature really exist? What celestial realm? Such descriptions are nothing but shameless propaganda made by those hypocrites. Suzaku is a vermilion bird, but she's one of the 4 great sacred beasts in charge of protecting the demon realm, not a guardian of the celestial realm. Pulling a long face, Di Xiaowan's attitude about the celestials and their twisted stories were all very negative. Just, the only one remaining now is Suzaku. Somewhat dejected at this point, aside from that little pet beside sister-in-law is the descendant of White Tiger, the remaining 2 is no longer around. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. There are 4 sacred beasts in total. Vermilion bird, White Tiger, Azure Dragon and Black Turtle. These 4 acted as the guardians of the demon realm thousands of years ago. But nowadays, aside from Suzaku who remains alive from that period, the other was Little Rice who descended from the original White Tiger. At the moment, the 3 girls were exchanging differing glances with each other, but most were directed at the demon princess. Xiao Wan, Lan Xiaoyun bit her lip. No matter what your identity is, we will always be friends. Through the sweet Dumbaklut's carelessness, both girls are now able to discern she's not average. Then by connecting by Xiaoqin's ability to summon various demon beasts at will, the answer became all too easy to guess. Humph. Humph. Bai Xiaoqin is my nephew anyways, and Bai Yan is my sister-in-law. If these 2 dares to leave me behind, then I can happily keep them both to myself. You dare! Xueqi got angry. Di Xiaowan, I'm telling you now, you won't get such an opportunity. Bai Yan may not have accepted my brother, but she will always be my sister. I won't let you have her all to yourself. Di Xiaowan also picked up her voice. What, you want to pick a fight then? Let's fight then, you think I'm afraid of you? Pulling her sleeve up, Xueqi roars out at her friend. As usual, it always devolves into a brawl whenever they are not in agreement. So in situations like these where nothing good could come of it, Lan Xiaoyun was the one who usually steps in to force the pair apart. Maybe by this point Bai Yan already has another favorite sister. In times like this, we should be working together to fend off external threats. Weak against the 2 powerful glares coming her way, the level-headed girl timidly states her point and won the 2 powerhouse over. War God White Tiger 3. Xiaoyun cousin, is right. We need to be consistent in facing the outsider so that sister-in-law doesn't get stolen away, the demon princess notes. That's right. We should go now. I know where Bai Yan is right now, so let's find her right away. Just that. Perhaps it's Lan Xiaoyun's own misconception or what, but whenever a member of the medicine sect learns of this girl's identity, they would all flee at the name in fear instead of awe and reverence like most would often do when confronted with someone of such background. It can't be. Did she do something so indecent that everyone's running away from her? Like stealing a virgin maiden's chastity? Or doing something indecently sadistic to a man? Otherwise, why would the male flee in her presence and the female tremble in fear as soon as they hear her name? Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases at the moment. Xueqi was so clueless to the changing opinions of her 2 friends, and everyone else's for that matter, that she could hardly see the issue. Back over in a certain room, Bai Yan was currently having a peaceful sleep as the sun's ray illuminated her fine delicate skin. But she's not alone though. Di Tsong was also present there sitting by her bed. The man's enjoying the picturesque scene like he couldn't get enough of it. But then, from within the same bed, a certain baby white tiger just had to roll around to land his dirty little paws onto the sleeping woman's breast. Without surprise, the man's complexion instantly went dark at the sight. Not saying a word, he immediately makes a grab for the insufferable cat's tail and shook the rascal awake. Hoo-hoo, I didn't do anything, why is he glaring at me like that? Not giving any attention to the little thing, Di Tsong stoutly dragged his captive out the door and tossed him to the ground. How many years have you been with her? Though the man's voice was as low as a whisper, it still rocked Little Rice's ear till it's a rolling drum. 5 years. 5 years? Why didn't you contract with her? The man lightly furrows his brow in light of the lack of emotion. It's because mistress won't let me, crying in grievance. It's not like I didn't want to, but mistress is worried I would die as well if she passes away. If contracted, the familiar themselves would also perish if the master passes away. That's one of the drawbacks of such a ritual. You must contract with her. The man's tone sounded unquestionably determined. Why, oh why? Staring up at the man in confusion, Little Rice just didn't understand why he's so afraid of the person to the point where he's shivering all over. Last night state teacher sent me a letter. He said you must contract with her. Raising a grin, Deet Song's cool tone demand absolute obedience. As for how you would do it, figure it out yourself. When I return I want to see results. King. Little Master's been wanting to know about what you've been doing lately. He didn't ask because he didn't know how, so tell him I've been making preparations for their entry into the demon realm. So, I won't be able to accompany them during this period. Squinting his eyes then, Deet Song releases a cold glint of threatening intent. And if anyone dares to make trouble for them, you can directly eliminate them in my stead. War God White Tiger 4. My son need not be soft-hearted, nor does his pet. If anyone dares to provoke him, then destroying the foolish idiot is all he needs to do. I will tell Little Master that then. With his head lowered still, Little Rice continues to shiver uncontrollably. I didn't say anything nor did I do anything yet. Why is everyone so afraid of me? I don't care either way, but if Yen Yen were to see this then she might mistake it as me picking on this little white tiger. That won't do at all. Little Rice instantly made a 360. From a shivering look, his face now carried a cuddly smile. How could you be terrifying, King? That must be your illusion. But if you could hold back your suffocating aura then that would be great. Really, how does Mistress and Little Master endure being in front of King's presence? I could barely breath while standing here, yet they could talk so freely like it's nothing. Very well. Loosening that furrowing brow of his, Deet Song has now decided to change his ways. At the very least, while in front of those who his wife cares for anyways. If I don't then Yen Yen will definitely be angry with me. Popping his tigerly eyes at the quick answer, Little Rice had trouble believing reality. King agreed that easily? Why didn't I speak out at the beginning then? In that short moment where the baby tiger was still lost in his own thoughts, Deet Song's presence have already disappeared from sight following a strong gust of wind. Coming back into the room minutes later, Little Rice remains uncertain whether or not he should carry out the order as told. But then when Deet Song's face came flying out from his mind again in the next moment, any hesitation instantly leaves him. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Mistress, I'm sorry but it's King who told me to ignore your will. Giving off a glint of guilt in his eyes, Little Rice slowly crawled up to Bai Yan's side. I must do this in secret, otherwise Mistress would definitely refuse if she finds out. Due to being deep in slumber from her nap, Bai Yan was completely clueless to what's about to happen. Instead, all she felt was a strange influx of energy seeping into her head and prying open a gate to her memories. The sky has been stained red with blood and the battlefield rocking with agonizing screams. Queen, I will handle these people while you go find King. Boom. Not even the rivers of time could deter these words from reaching into Bai Yan's heart. It's painful to the point where it's piercing to the heart. No. Don't. She cries out without knowing why. Then as her legs moved forward under the guidance of a mysterious force, another attack has come from above. Numerous arrows smashed down, piercing every part of the teen's body in doing so. He protected me just now. A simple dodge would have sufficed, yet he stayed to protect me. And oh, overcome with grief, Bai Yan didn't know why her memories were playing such pictures. It's so painful that she wanted to cry and scream in agony. Never give up. Ha! Not only did the teen not topple over from the countless wounds to his body, the arrogance in his voice only grew bigger and prouder like an unyielding blade. Do you people think this will defeat me? Shame I couldn't protect the queen. Shame I haven't gotten revenge for my brothers the Azure Dragon and Black Turtle. In one smooth motion, the unyielding teen had ripped one of the blades out from his body. He did not flinch, and he did not scream. The only thing he did was to point the blade in his hand at the sky where thousands converged, all willing and ready to slice him down in the name of justice. Enough! Covering her lips with those trembling fingers, Bai Yan's tears came pouring down of her eye sockets like a waterfall. She wanted to do something, she really did. But the state she's in, the body she's in control of refuses to move. So, she watched from the floor while the teen did his all to protect her. First it was the dismembering of the boy's arm, then the direct slash across the chest, and the desperate struggle of one against thousands. Even so, the teen never wavered and he continued to stand. Everyone could tell by now the boy was dead. Hollow eye sockets, rigid movements, That's the sign of an individual burning away their soul for power. And the price? Once fully consumed, the snowy white teen would forever disappear, never to be reborn again. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. White Tiger. Crying out, she struggles to climb up from the floor after finally being released at last. There's endless anger on her face right now, but more than that, it's endless suffering that's consuming her very heart. Enough, you have done enough, you can rest now. I swear, if there is an afterlife, I will find all three of you, Azure Dragon and Black Turtle as well. When that time comes, I will use all these people's lives as tribute for what they've done to us all. So stop, do you hear me? Stop this instant. If you don't stop now, then you really will destroy your own soul. That's right. I'm not part of this place, this is nothing but a piece of my own memory. But then, perhaps the teen did hear her plea, because in the next second from those hollow and empty eyes came a flickering white light. Bai Yan wasn't sure what's going on, but that rigid movement indicated he could hear her. I'll be fine and we're all going to have an afterlife. If you don't stop now, then you won't be able to protect me in the future. As silly as her words may be when everything around her was nothing but a flashback, she nevertheless cries out like it's happening for real. Sure enough, the sword in the boy's hand fell in that moment and the determined body crumbled to dust like something's been lifted. Everything came so quickly and disappeared just as quickly. Now, nothing remains but darkness in her head. You two are my hapines. Mistress, hurry and wake up. An anxious cry echoes beside Bai Yan's ear. It's unsure when, but by the time she opened her eyes, trickles of tears have already soaked up the pillow underneath herself. As for the scene from that dream, it continues to vividly replay itself like a stinging heartache, refusing to leave her mind. Stupid little rice. You made mother cry. Puffing up his cheeks like a steaming little bun, Bai Xiaochen hurries to help wipe those tears away. Mother, don't cry, otherwise I will cry too. Just now. Did you make a contract with me? Making a weak nod, little rice meekly answers with guilt in his voice. Mistress, I am wrong. If you want, you can hit me, but please forgive me. Then before the furball could finish that apology, the woman has already pulled him in for a tight embrace. Those arms were rough and hard, borderline suffocating even. Even so, little rice didn't dare to move. He could see the pain in his mistress's eyes. Little rice, her voice shaky still from the dream, I won't let anyone harm you again. If they do, I will tear them apart from limb to limb. Mistress. Blinking with confusion in his eyes, the little furball clearly didn't understand what's going on. What's going on with mistress lately? Normally this would be a heartwarming scene. However, Bai Xiaochen on the other hand only showed sadness on his cute little face. Will mother not love only me in the future? I'm so sad. Oh, what am I supposed to do? For the longest time, Bai Yan refuses to let go and even pulled her son into an embrace. Together, all three of them, they cuddled for warmth like one big happy family. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. This undoubtedly delighted the baby boy. From a sorrowful rainy expression, Bai Xiaochen was now looking all bright and dandy. In fact, the changes were so fast and apparent that even little rice had become astounded by the face change. Son, my precious little baby, you are my most important treasure in life. I was just thinking earlier, if I were to have a son in my past life, then it would have to be you as well. The boy didn't answer right away. Rather, he inched closer against Bai Yan's chest to take a deep sniff of her bodily aroma. It's as if the very scent could calm his heart. I will always be mother's most precious son. Whether it be this life, the last, and the future. Startled there for a second, Bai Yan honestly didn't think her boy could say something so wonderful at his age. Taking the two up to her face, she gives them both a peck on the forehead and then closed her eyes. Mother, I can't breath, the little steam bun pleads, bringing the woman's focus back to reality. Mother! A little flushed in the face, the baby boy eyes her with worry. Did something happen? Slowly shaking her head, Bai Yan's voice was soft and gentle. It's nothing, I'm just feeling moved at having you two around. She did have a family back in her previous world, but that sort of family was equivalent to not having one. But now, she could truly say happiness has found her. And in order to protect this happiness, she would never allow anyone to harm them. Little rice. Do you know about the existence of the celestial realm? A glint of frosty coldness circulates within Bai Yan's iris. Celestial realm? Blinking those tigerly eyes, the little furball had wanted to answer that question to only be interrupted by a loud clamoring from the yard outside. The troublemakers are here. Yen Yen is resting now, no one can bother her. This voice was obviously Emily Shang's, and his tone sounded angry when it reached the occupants inside. Slightly furrowing her brow, Bai Yan's attention was quickly caught by the teen's anger. Come, we will go see what's happening outside. Shang, are these people here for me? Leaning her body against the doorframe in a lazy manner, Bai Yan asks without any particular meaning. However, that attitude and appearance took on a different light in the eyes of others with ulterior motive. For the man in green, there's a very power lust in his eyes. I thought my sister was already pretty enough. To think there's such beauty in this world. Oh, want her. I will definitely take her for my own. Making a difficult gulp, the one speaking was Yi Ming. So you are the woman who forcefully occupied my sister's place? For Bai Yan, who was still yawning from waking up not so long ago, she naturally wouldn't miss the dirty look coming her way. And what of it? Ho ho, Yi Ming cackled sinisterly. Do you think you can still stay at the medicine sect after offending my sister? But, if you are willing to serve me, then maybe I will help you. It was precisely at this moment that another had arrived on scene. From the neighboring room, Wenru had just opened his door to hear this outlandish and foolish remark. Therefore, imagine how big his eyes must be popping right now. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Crazy. These people from the medicine sect have really gone mad. Yen Yan's knowledge in alchemy alone is enough to put her above everyone else here. And let's not mention the fact that she's the disciple of the 3 chief elders of the Holy Land. Now this buffoon is demanding she serve him? Where did this bastard get the nerve? Still oblivious to his own mistake, Yi Ming presses forward by proudly cocking his head. My sister Yi Ying is only a woman at her core, that's why my grandmother would be more inclined to side with me. Here, I will give you a deal. So long as you promise to service me, then I will put in a few words for you. What do you say? Slowly narrowing her eyes, Bai Yan's gaze grew dangerous now. Little Rice, look after Xueqi in my stead. Meow. Calling out using the fake feline cry, the baby tiger understood the buffoon was screwed now. Come over here. Flicking her finger in a hooking motion, Bai Yan looked exceptionally seductive in the blasted man's eye. Boom. Without giving anyone the time to react, a ruthless kick has shot up into the man's crucial part and creating a popping sound in the process. A deafening scream echoes with resounding clarity across the clouds, scattering the birds and animals in the surround terrain. Right now, forget about speaking, Yi Ming's complexion gone from red to green, then from green to purple. In fact, it's almost impossible to imagine what sort of emotions this man must be going through. Slapping them flying. You guys, capture this woman for me. Damn it! How dare she kick me in the crotch? I will make her pay for this transgression and my humiliation. Aside from coursing pain throughout Yi Ming's face, there's also intense hatred and anger. He's not going to let this slide after having his crotched kicked so brutishly. What are you people doing? Go grab that woman. Stomping his feet from frustration, Yi Ming didn't care about the alchemy convention or what identity this woman has, he only cares about hurting the perpetrator. Little Rice, go get me a stool, I want to watch Mother clobber these baddies. Sitting on the ground, Bai Xiaochen was currently snacking on a bottle of Dan pills that he pulled from his storage sack. Naturally, this immediately scared the daylights out of Wenru, who was nearby. This spendthrift. Does he not have a clue how much those things are worth? Is he not afraid of choking himself? Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Auntie Xiao Wan. It was then the baby boy burst into a gleeful yell, his eyes glowing with excitement. Bai Yan as well has stopped moving. Turning her attention to the directed location, the presence of 3 familiar figures promptly came into her eyes. Di Xiaowan, Chu Yi, and Lan Xiaoyun. What are the 3 of them doing here? This left an opening and one of the thugs didn't miss it. Brandishing the sword in hand, the impudent man rushed her with the blade aiming at the head. But it was futile. As if with eyes behind her back, Bai Yan only needed to raise her hand slightly to release a powerful shockwave at the attacker's face. Next moment, the man had shot straight into the air and out of the yard following that incredible slap. If not for the loud impacting rumble of the earth that came later, the audience might have thought he wouldn't have landed at all. Monster. This woman is a monster. People. Where's all my people? Forgetting his stinging pain down beneath, Yi Ming eyes his surrounding that was quickly dwindling in numbers. What happened the first time was happening again and again, until all were slapped away to who knows where. Smirking now, Bai Yan's voice remains as indifferent as ever after her deed. If you want to know where your followers are, then just dig into the earth. I'm sure after you go out there and dig 100 meters, then you will find a couple of their corpses. 100-meter corpses. Yi Ming subconsciously flinched backward like he's facing a demonic monster who's out to take his life. It's Yi Ying who asked me to come find you. This is not my fault. I was only told to come seduce you. She told me you are nothing but an insignificant disciple of the lowest standing. That's why I came. If you like this translation, then please turn off your ad blockers. It really helps. Or if you want to read ahead, try becoming a Patreon backer. The first tier is just $1, so give it a shot. Bullying someone? Who doesn't know how? 4. Oh, thank goodness, that nightmare is finally gone. One of the members of the medicine sect heaves a breather, relieved that Bai Yan's out of sight. Which part of her is gone, you idiot? CEO Wang reprimands the disciple with a grunt. That woman is still staying here for another 3 days. Who knows what could happen in this time frame? That instantly causes the individual to go ghastly white. His expression right now was no different from someone confronted with the end of the world. The same was true of the others as well. When known the target of their nightmare still has to stay for another 3 days, they would immediately show the look of someone getting a painful headache. At this moment within the exquisite room, a young maiden in a succulent dress was currently sitting on a table and sipping tea. How come Yiling isn't back yet? But just as the maidservant was about to answer that question, the door to her room was suddenly smashed open and in came the stunning figure. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Who allowed you to come here? Slamming the table, she immediately jerks up from her seat and roars out. In return, Bai Yan only sneered. Throw her things out and change the quilt sheets for me. You dare! This bitch wants to steal my room? Who does she think she is? Yi Ying's face was livid as she eyed Bai Yan and the disciple leading the way. Who allowed you to bring her? The disciple faltered at the interrogation, murmuring and too afraid to meet the woman's eye. Thankfully, Bai Yan didn't intend to leave the matter alone and stepped in instead. CEO Wang has already given me your room. Now, pack up your things and get out. You! Sucking in a deep breath, Yi Ying presses down her anger and eyed the disciple some more. Is what she's saying true? The response was a nervous nod, which the person quickly explained about everything that's occurred thus far. As a result of this, Yi Ying's expression only grew increasingly ugly as she gripped her fingers into a tight-knit ball. Damn that Yi Ling, this useless garbage. Not only did he screw up the simple task, he also enraged elder CEO Wang. Who doesn't know that CEO Wang's most passionate about the medicine sect? If they really made this woman leave, then it's the same as insulting the Holy Land. And if that happens, would the Holy Land let the matter rest? Obviously not. That means the one to suffer has to be me. Thinking of this, Yi Ying's chest started to heave up and down, indicating how much of a grievance this turn of event was for her. A fate is one's own doing, and the world will know of this. What you did to me today, I will return it all one day. Don't even think about begging me when that moment comes. I am Bai Zhanping's distant niece, and she? If not for the alchemy convention, this blasted woman would have died 1,000 times over. I am returning the sentence right back at you. Cold in her smile, Bai Yan eyes the girl like she's seeing a fool. However, even if you begged me on the floor by then, I still won't let you go. If you dare to scheme against me, then you better be ready to pay the price. Humph. Huffing a snort, Yi Ying immediately waltzed out of the room like a high-standing peacock. However, her pride only lasted right up to the doorway and out of sight where nothing but grievance remains on that face. Miss, what should we do now? Asked the maid that's with the girl, cold in her eyes. We're leaving. I refuse to believe my granduncle would turn a blind eye to this after I'm insulted to such a degree. She originally wanted to go call on her grandmother to help, but that idea quickly got squashed after recalling how useless old Madame Yi was at her core. Scared to the point of being unable to walk too. Now it was Di Xiaowan's turn to speak. As if my sister-in-law would need to fight with others when she already has such an outstanding man like my brother. Let me guess. You are another shameless animal trying to seduce her, aren't you? Bai Yan immediately shot a questioning gaze at the demon princess. Did you just indirectly accuse your brother as a shameless animal? Well, that is definitely what I just said, but I'm not admitting it. Bai Yan smiled and nodded. Indeed, your brother is not a shameless animal, he's a shameless, cunning and insidious fox. Now Di Xiaowan was ready to cry. She knows it's just a matter of time before the word gets out if Bai Yan would go this far. Glaring now at the cause of her mistake. Damn bastard, if it weren't for you then I wouldn't have bashed on my brother. Tell me where that bitch of sister of yours is this instant. Shuddering at the order, Yi Ming's first instinct was to flee. Sadly for him though, Xueqi had moved ahead and blocked off his path. Want to run? You bullied Bai Yan first, and now claim to be my fiancé. If I let you go now then how am I supposed to show my face again in public? Smiling dangerously, the little princess of the Holy Land cracks her knuckles in preparation. Sister Yi. Wiping his sloppy mouth with a rub of his sleeve, Bai Xiaochen softly calls out. This big baddie is the worse. He actually wanted mother to service him earlier, and rationed she could only be his concubine. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. The effects were instantaneous. From multiple directions, 3 powerful gazes were pinning Yiming's body like blades flying out of them sheaths. It's so suffocating that the man couldn't even move at this point. Xiaoyun, Xiaowan, should we neuter this bastard right now? Sure enough, Xueqi was the first to take action by actually drawing her blade out to the man's neck for Real. Neuter him. Di Xiaowan huffs a snort. That would just dirty our hands with his filthiness. Just wait until we leave next time. Along the way is the demon forest. Just toss the bastard into the forest and the demon beasts would take care of him just fine. Xiaowan is right in her reasoning, Lon Xiaoyun cousin, gives a serious nod. Besides, we still need him to lead us to that sister of his. What's the name again? Oh yeah, it's Yi Ying. I will show her what it means to connive after my cousin-in-law. All right. In a blink of an eye, what used to be a lively yard was now empty and quiet. Mother, does Auntie and them not like me anymore? Why are they not taking me along when they're looking for that bad woman? All grieving in his cute little face, Bai Xiaochen asks in earnest. Bai Yan calmly replies. You can go and see too. With your Auntie Xiaoyun there, I'm not afraid of the other 2 making too much trouble. Among the 3 troublemakers that came today, only Lon Xiaoyun was a bit normal. As for the remaining 2, one's a well-known witch of the Holy Land, and the other's a sweet dumbaklutz. If Bai Yan had to rely on anyone to keep things from going overboard, it would be her cousin. Really? The baby boy's eyes lit up over the permission to go. Come little rice, we can see the show too. I love you mother. Scared to the point of being unable to walk 3. Without giving his feline friend a chance to say anything there, the baby boy's hand has already yanked that tail into a gripping hold. Together, 1 tiger and 1 boy, they disappeared like the gusting wind in pursuit of the 3 ladies. Meanwhile in the background still, when Ru was putting on a weeping face the entire way. He's pained by the Dan pills that's been left scattered on the floor due to Bai Xiaochen's outburst just now. What a spendthrift. A spendthrift. Why can't they be given to me instead? What's the matter? Noticing the oddity, Bai Yan's first glimpse of the grievance in her subordinate's mood was the fact that he was sorrowfully picking up the leftovers from the ground like a beggar. In light of the question, when Ru didn't answer like he usually does in an upbeat attitude. Instead, the young man only staggered back to his room and shut the door like a dispirited ghost. Now that's left the woman all confused and clueless. Since Bai Yan herself didn't know what's going on, she has decided to ignore it out of consideration for the boy's past action. There's just too many oddballs constantly running around in her life, so another one Ru here makes hardly any difference. The Elder Assembly Hall, one of the most important places within the medicine sect. I don't know what happened, but Zhangping suddenly called over half of us away something. Now he's not paying any attention to the alchemy convention, says a red-robed elder inside the chamber hall. Yeah, this convention is usually hosted by the young master. Now that he's gone, everything is falling into CEO Wang's hands and it's becoming a mess. Especially how he tried to expel the disciple from the Holy Land at the persuasion of that Yi Ying. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. These elders were all getting a throbbing migraine over the recent events of the past 2 days. They want the real lord or young lord to step in, or the very least to give them permission to interfere. As things stand now, they are helpless. Everyone, this is indeed our fault. If the time comes that the Holy Land does come seeking answers, we are going to have to endure the consequences. This I heard that the position of the disciple is not high, so the Holy Land wouldn't really come make trouble because of someone like that, right? Damn it. If things do go that way, then it's just going to benefit that misty fairy house. While these elders were negotiating on how to deal with the aftermath, a man dressed in protective gear had suddenly barged into their meeting. Based on how agitated and flustered the person was, it's obvious he did so in the heat of the moment after running all the way. Who allowed you to come in? A yellow-robed elder roared, slamming his fist against the table. Crumbling to the floor at the yell, the person stutters profusely. Elders, we are in trouble. The Holy Lands witch is here. What? The witch is coming? Why did she come here? Is it because she found out about us bullying her sect's disciple? This witch have always been short-tempered and is definitely going to raise a storm. It shouldn't be. The news couldn't have spread so fast, but letting her know about it will definitely cause an uproar. Damn that Ying! If this matter is really related to her, then I won't let her off the hook. The yellow-robed elder was blistering red due to the anger in himself. Perhaps it's the effect of Xueqi's nickname being so prominent, but the only one left who's still showing calm was the red-robe elder who first spoke up earlier. But in truth, ahem, the witch coming isn't anything to be freaking out about. It's fine, everyone, and be optimistic. We are the medicine sect. We just need to send someone to look after the girl so she doesn't cause any harm. Though he says that, the trembling legs underneath his robe said otherwise. Earth-shattering 333. Not long later, the guard soon returned with another person to stand in front of by Chongfeng's presence. Tell me, is there anyone who came to our medicine sect carrying the invitation slip from the Luoho kingdom? Taking a sip from his teacup, the old senior casually asks despite his heart tensing up into a knot. Reporting to sect leader, that there is indeed a person who came with thy item. Try as he might in being respectful, the man's voice nevertheless carried a pang of agitation when speaking. It couldn't be helped. The poor person was nothing more than an individual in charge of watching the entrance gates. The very fact that he could gain an audience with the Lord was a gift in of itself. Snapped. Perhaps it's the knot within him being relieved, or he's just lost on how to react. But Bai Chongfeng's tense fingers had lost their grip and allowed the liquid to flow onto his pants. Is it a girl coming from there? Is she beautiful? Where is she? Take me to see her. All excited in his face, the senior jerks up from the chair. Hearing this dumbstruck burst of demand from their lord, the individuals present were all frozen over, their faces disbelieving like realities playing with their ears. It can't be. The lord is going through a second spring because the madam is gone for so long? But no matter what, going after a young maiden not even half his age is too much? Sect leader, gulping hard, the gatekeeper got even more nervous. But the one who came isn't a girl, it's a boy. Boy. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Something definitely cracked within the old fella's heart. Slouching back down to his chair, Bai Chongfeng's eyes were filled with nothing but decadence and frustration. It's actually not her? She should have received the invitation from Zhanping. Why does she not come to the medicine sect? Is it because she hates us, hates me? At the moment, countless unnecessary thoughts were running through this grandfather's head, making him even more nervous and unsettling to everyone nearby. But she shouldn't have known about Zhanping's background, nor their relationship. So why? Can it be some idiot from my medicine sect did something to her while they were outside? That's why she refused to come after receiving the invitation slip? SEC sect leader. Shaking right down to his legs upon seeing the ever-increasingly dark face on the old man, the poor gatekeeper could barely keep his words clear. What else? With eyes still ready to kill, Bai Chongfeng's tone sounded unervingly cold. That is, Miss Yi Ying is seeking an audience outside. Tell her to go. But the miss she... Bang! Slamming his hand against the desk in fuming rage. Who are you calling the miss? My medicine sect have no such miss in my household. Tell her to scram. If not, then I will toss her out myself. Literally popping their eyes, the gatekeeper and the rest didn't understand what's going on. According to their memory, the Lord's attitude towards the Yi family has never been this poor before. What are you still standing there for? Hurry and get out. Or do you want me to kick you out instead? Not giving the poor people a chance to run, Bai Chongfeng has already flown out and sent multiple kicks at these poor servants, but to send them flying. He's been enduring old Madame Ye's outrageous demands over the years due to the bond with his late wife. But now that he's decided not to endure anymore, He has no reason to keep up a good face anymore. Besides, his patience was already wearing thin due to Bai Yan not appearing before him. The fact that these annoying people are coming to bother him at such a time meant it's only natural they face a good chunk of that fury. Miss Yi Ying, don't wait anymore, the Lord isn't going to see you. After being kicked out with the gatekeeper, the guard immediately went before the girl to pass on this message. Just that, instead of being respectful like before, his voice now carried sarcasm and contempt. Sure enough, Yi Ying's complexion instantly got paler. Did you not tell him I've been humiliated? If others humiliate me, then it's the same as humiliating the medicine sect. Does my grand-uncle not care? Indulgence with the face-slapping one. How can this old Madame Yi think about letting her grandson become the successor to the medicine sect when Bai Zhanping is still alive? Isn't that the same as cursing the young lord to be without child in this lifetime? The outburst from the old granny was completely overheard by the elders who came rushing over just now. So, imagine their shock and disbelief after knowing the witch was also present. Too arrogant. The yellow-robed elder points accusingly at the perpetrator, his breath huffing hard like he's about to pass out. When did my medicine sect become your Yi families? It's enough that you would attempt to make the young lord take your granddaughter Yi Ying as his goddaughter. Now you are going as far as to make your grandson the future heir? How outrageous! The sect leader is still alive, and our young lord will stay healthy for many years to come. And what's that nonsense about the witch saying this Yi Ming is claiming to be her fiancé? Oh heavens, this Yi family! Where do they get such audacity from? First it was the attempt to marry Yi Ying to the young lord of the Holy Land several years back. Now they're trying to have Yi Ming take the princess of the Holy Land as his wife? Based on what? Grandmother! It was then that Yi Ming made a frantic scream to the old lady, his eyes showing great regret and despair. The whole reason he would dare say something like that earlier in front of Xueqi, and the rest was because there's nobody else around. Even if the other side made the claim he said something like that, there's no proof. But now, there's not only the disciples and outsiders coming to investigate the commotion, even the members of the Elder Council have arrived. I didn't say anything wrong. Old Madame Ye's neck shrank a notch, indicating her level of guilt. In actual fact, she regretted it as soon as she finished speaking, but since she has said it already, she couldn't exactly take it back. Grandmother, what's happening? Finally, the ruckus has brought Yi Ying out from the back as well after the loud noises. Slowly coming forward, the girl immediately furrowed her brow upon seeing Xueqi's figure. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. She had once saw the witch a few years ago, but that's only from afar. Therefore, her only feeling was that the foe looked familiar and couldn't recognize who it was. Why is it so noisy outside? It couldn't be an attendee of the alchemy convention is coming to make trouble, right? Squinting her eyes, Yi Ying puts on a dissatisfied expression. It's best to simply throw these sorts of people out. I won't allow any form of cheating no matter what they say or do. My heart is stern and true to the medicine sect. Now that just confused the daylights out of Xueqi. Scratching the back of her head, the witch turns to her two friends who promptly returned with a clueless shrug of their own. What does she mean by that? Lan Xiaoyun asks, baffled still. Di Xiaowan shook her head and answered, I don't know, maybe she has a problem in her head? What alchemy convention? I am here to get even with that Yi Ying. Where is that person? Get her out here this instant. Cold in her tone, Di Xiaowan grew dangerous in her aura. Auntie Xiaowan. It was then that a little steam bun with her white kitty came running over from the rear, his voice soft and childish. This bad woman is Yi Ying. She not only connived after Baddie father, she also wants to snatch me away. Yi Ying never said she would kidnap the baby boy, nevertheless. That won't stop Bai Xiaochen from adding oil to the fire in the worst way possible. Then just as Yi Ying was still stunned over the claim against herself, the demon princess has already rushed over to send a loud smacking slap across the girl's face. Who allowed you to connive after my brother? Who allowed you to try to steal my nephew? And who allowed you to compare yourself with my sister-in-law? Indulgence with the face slapping too. The slap has left Yi Ying utterly dumbfounded to the point where she had to take a good minute to come back to her senses. Ah! You bitch! I'm going to tear you apart for hitting my granddaughter. Old Madame Yi screams, running for the perpetrator in order to exact revenge. However, before that old woman could do anything, Di Xiaowan have already sent a mega kick against her obese body. A few tumbling rolls later, The old hag now laid flat on the ground. Yet none moved at her command. Instead, everyone only turned to the livid-looking elders that's been watching the entire thing unfold. They knew this wouldn't turn out well, so the posture of the medicine sect members instinctively backed off a step. As for Elder Lu Zhong and the rest, they wanted to tear Ying apart right now. The only reason they didn't rush over earlier was because they had no proper plan to appease Xueqi. Not because they didn't want to. This is over. This time, no matter how much we appease this witch, we're screwed. You want to hit me? Under the angry eyes of Yi Ying and others, Xueqi only snarled a snicker. My father wouldn't even dare to hit me and you're threatening me? Who the heck are you? You're not even a disciple here. What? Does the medicine sect have an opinion about me, about our holy land? Holy land? Yi Ying was gobsmacked by the news. This girl too? You are nothing but a disciple of the holy land. Don't get ahead of yourself with that arrogance. Even if your sect leader comes in person today, our medicine sect won't let you off so easy. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Peng. Yi Ying didn't even get to finish her threat when an immense push tossed her aside. This infuriated the girl, of course, and that's on top of her already flaming mood. However, that flame was instantly smothered out at the recognition of who the individual was. Elder Xianxia, you. How come you are here? The man named Xianxia was the very same yellow-robed elder who spoke up at the meeting hall. After forcefully pushing aside the impudent girl, the senior promptly made a flattering smile. Princess, how come you are here? He originally wanted to call out with the nickname Witch, but thankfully his steady mindset has managed to stop that horrible mistake in the nick of time. No, this is definitely a mistake. Our Lord is doing just fine and will continue to do just fine for many years to come. This Yi Ming is nothing but a distant relative of the sect leader. What successor? Elder Xianxia shoots a harsh glare at the Yi family members. As for that talk about being your fiancé, I never heard of such nonsense. That's right. Princess, you are both beautiful and talented. Only the best of the best out there is worthy of you. This Yi Ming, humph. He's not even worthy of being your shoe licker. Princess, everything is the Yi family's fault. It has nothing to do with us. So you see. Can you spare the precious treasures in our medicine sect? The elders were surrounding Xueqi from every angle, afraid the girl would slip away to rob them dry using this opportunity. Indulgence with the face slapping. 3. Elders, pausing for a sec, Yi Ying nervously asks, what do you mean by those words? What princess? The princess of the Holy Land could only refer to one individual, so she wanted to confirm it again. Yi Ying. Lu Zhong, red robe, face got dreadfully cold. How dare you threaten the princess here? Even if I had 100 lives in my hand, I would never dare to say something so outrageous like hitting the wit. Princess. Boom. First it was the massive explosion in Yi Ying's head, followed closely by the empty state of mind. As a result, all traces of blood have left the girl's face as she faltered backwards in disbelief. No. Impossible. This woman is the princess of the Holy Land, the one envied by all the females in this world. Impossible. A shrewd scream suddenly burst out from the ground. It was old Madame Yi, her face twisted and enraged by the truth. She resents everyone, including the world. This wild wench couldn't possibly be the princess of the Holy Land. Impossible. All of you must be lying to me. It's a mistake. Yes, they're either lying or making a mistake. How can this uncultivated wild wench be a princess of such a great power? The Lord of the Holy Land must be blind to love such a rude, impudent girl. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Thank goodness my Yi Ying is not like this. She's clever and well-behaving, the polar opposite of what is bad. Hey! Shifting her head over to her friend then. Xueqi's smile was sinister and scary. Di Xiao Wan, want to have a bet on who can leave more bruises? Okay. The demon princess readily nods in return. I will be responsible for the lower body and you the upper half. As for the face, we will give it to Lan Xiaoyun. How dare she try to snatch my brother and nephew? Let's see how she will do that after we are through with her. Rolling up her sleeve, Xueqi slowly steps forward in an intimidating manner. Now Yi Ying was truly frightened as the three girls surrounded herself. She could tell there's no escape and the impending future couldn't be good in any form. Ah! For some reason, the sky was extraordinarily brilliant this afternoon. However, This wondrous scene was soon shattered when a heart-wrenching scream rocked the air and the occupants on this mountain. Perhaps it's due to the deadline quickly drawing close, but aside from the disciples and uninvolved individuals, pretty much all of the alchemists coming for convention had ignored the commotion. They're far too busy with their own work to care about another's misery. My granddaughter, my precious granddaughter. When everyone eventually dispersed after being done with the show, it was old Madame Yi who rushed over to the girl's side first. The old granny was trembling all over as she examined the dazed-looking patients. Answer me please, Inga. Please answer, grandmother. Still bloodshot in the eyes, Ying didn't react as she eyed the sky. However, the swollen sting on her bruises eventually brought her back to attention. Grandma, I want revenge. There's not an ounce of beauty left in the girl's outer contour, only a corrosive hatred that could melt the target. I want vengeance for today's pain. But, if the other party really is the Holy Land's princess, then how? Indulgence with the face-slapping for. I must be Bai Zhongping's daughter, and I must be the young lady of this medicine sect. I must be feared by all like that Xueqi. And I will have all those who mocked me look at me with adoration. In the past she was only keen on taking the young lady position for this place, but now, it's not enough anymore. Why didn't you marry Bai Chongfeng back then? Clenching her fingers until the nails were piercing into her own flesh, Ying stares intently at the old granny. Even if you couldn't become his wife, then why didn't you become his concubine? Would I be in this situation if you had done so back then? I would have been a genuine lady of the medicine sect. This is all your fault. All your fault. The bashing leaves the old woman's head hanging in shame, for she believed the same thing. Back then, she did in fact try to seduce her brother-in-law. Who wouldn't be tempted? A handsome young master with plenty of power and influence. To say Bai Chongfeng was the ideal lover of any lady wasn't an understatement. But in the end, everything came to naught after repeated rejection. So who's to blame for this outcome? Of course, in old Madame Yi's eyes it would be her older sister Yi Jing who won in the end. That's right. If not for that slut's existence, then I would be Bai Chongfeng's wife. The position of mistress of the medicine sect would also be mine. It's all her fault, all Yi Jing's fault. Don't worry, Inger. I will have you become Bai Zhongping's goddaughter so you won't be picked on by that bitch from the Holy Land again. Getting up from the floor, old Madame Yi firmly states her decision before heading straight out of the room. Her destination, the courtyard where the Lord resides. As for Yi Ying, who remains lying on the ground, her lips had inexplicably curled into a sinister grin after watching that departing back leave her sight. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Power really is a good thing. I will also get power in the future, and no one can ever rob me of that. While the autumn leaves were falling beautifully today, the old grandpa on the other hand couldn't rest at ease. One for Bai Yan's whereabout, the other for the annoying commotion outside. Where is my son? Tell that brat to get here so I can know when he is bringing my granddaughter over. Sitting on his stone stool in the garden, Bai Chongfeng asks one of the servants. He's the sect leader, so leaving the medicine sect on a whim was out of the question, but Bai Zhongping's different. I will go right away to inquire for you, my lord. One of the servants salutes and retreated in haste. And for the love of God, is she still outside refusing to leave? Furrowing his brow at the screaming voice that's rocking the air, the old grandpa grumbles in annoyance. This naturally irritated the old grandpa to no ends. My lord, another servant speaks. Old Madame Yi said that if you won't see her then she won't stop. Going cold in his face, Bai Chongfeng's expression promptly turned into a snarling scowl. Fine, let her in. I like to see what sort of trouble she's going to raise this time. Yes, sect leader. The servant went out quick and returned just as quickly with the old granny in tow. Brother-in-law, you must get justice for me. The voice bordering on the level of screeching, old Madame Yi suddenly pounced at the sight of her target. Bump. However, instead of allowing the old woman to grab onto himself like most gentlemen would, Bai Chongfeng instead raised his leg to stop that body from getting any closer. This wasn't out of spite or anything, he's just too shocked and scared by the person's abrupt movement. If you have something to say, then do it properly. What do you think you are doing by trying to grab onto me? The man's face turned green from disgust at the possible reason. Don't tell me, are you trying to seduce me like you did years ago? Old Madame Ye's complexion flushed hard upon having her intent brought to the forefront. Indeed, she's trying to do exactly that. Just that the other side never gave her a chance. Not back then, and most likely not now either. War God White Tiger 4. My son need not be soft-hearted, nor does his pet. If anyone dares to provoke him, then destroying the foolish idiot is all he needs to do. I will tell little master that then. With his head lowered still, Little Rice continues to shiver uncontrollably. That immediately roused a flicker of displeasure in the man's expression. Am I that terrifying? I didn't say anything, nor did I do anything yet. Why is everyone so afraid of me? I don't care either way, but if Yen Yen were to see this, then she might mistake it as me picking on this little white tiger. That won't do at all. Little Rice instantly made a 360. From a shivering look, his face now carried a cuddly smile. How could you be terrifying, King? That must be your illusion. But if you could hold back your suffocating aura, then that would be great. Really, how does Mistress and Little Master endure being in front of King's presence? I could barely breathe while standing here, yet they could talk so freely like it's nothing. Very well. Loosening that furrowing brow of his, Song has now decided to change his ways. At the very least, while in front of those who his wife cares for anyways. If I don't, then Yen Yen will definitely be angry with me. Popping his tigerly eyes at the quick answer, Little Rice had trouble believing reality. King agreed that easily? Why didn't I speak out at the beginning then? In that short moment where the baby tiger was still lost in his own thoughts, Song's presence have already disappeared from sight following a strong gust of wind. Coming back into the room minutes later, Little Rice remains uncertain whether or not he should carry out the order as told. But then when Song's face came flying out from his mind again in the next moment, any hesitation instantly leaves him. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Mistress, I'm sorry, but it's King who told me to ignore your will. Giving off a glint of guilt in his eyes, Little Rice slowly crawled up to Bai Yan's side. I must do this in secret, otherwise Mistress would definitely refuse if she finds out. Due to being deep in slumber from her nap, Bai Yan was completely clueless to what's about to happen. Instead, all she felt was a strange influx of energy seeping into her head and prying open a gate to her memories. The sky has been stained red with blood and the battlefield rocking with agonizing screams. The scene was all too familiar because she had seen this before. It's the very same place that appeared when Song made the contract with her without permission. So why would she see this place again? Queen, I will handle these people while you go find King. Boom. Not even the rivers of time could deter these words from reaching into Bai Yan's heart. It's painful to the point where it's piercing to the heart. No, don't. She cries out without knowing why. Then as her legs moved forward under the guidance of a mysterious force, another attack has come from above. Numerous arrows smashed down, piercing every part of the teen's body in doing so. He protected me just now. A simple dodge would have sufficed, yet he stayed to protect me. And oh, overcome with grief, Bai Yan didn't know why her memories were playing such pictures. It's so painful that she wanted to cry and scream in agony. Indulgence with the face slapping. 6. As Bai Chongfeng watched the departing back of that shrew disappear from his eyes, the man's irises were flashing a dead gleam by then. Sect leader. A nearby guard wanted to speak up, but again and again his words were withdrawn out of hesitation. I've already said it there. Taking Yi Ying as a goddaughter will only happen if there's no third-generational heir to the medicine sect. So, that outcome would never happen because I've now found my granddaughter, thus making the promise invalid. Haha, Bai Chongfeng, we have come to visit you at your home. It was then that the old grandpa's train of thought was interrupted by the far-reaching laughter from afar. Frowning at first, the old grandpa had to take a good moment to recognize that voice. Looking up, he eyes the sky for the expected figures to eventually show themselves. But when they did so, he actually became slightly surprised by the lack of a third. How come it's only you two? Where's Qiu Shu Rong? Third. Zhang Qi, first, and Ran Yi, second, didn't answer and went silent. What were they supposed to say? Tell Bai Chongfeng that because of Ran Yi's blunder in revealing Bai Yan's whereabouts to Song, they now have to keep their third brother at home in order to avoid spilling the beans to their precious disciple? No way. Absolutely not. There's no way they would let others know about something so shameful. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Old 3 is busy at the moment, so it's only us two coming to visit you. Keeping his face straight, Zhang Qi was the one who answered the question like the responsible one. Bai Chongfeng, we've heard today is the final day of the convention. I'm just wondering, are we too late? No, the both of you are not late at all. Just in time, in fact. But I'm curious, though. You three brothers have never been interested in the alchemy convention before. Why the sudden change in heart by sending a Holy Land's disciple this year? Oh, Xianxia remains all calm and carefree. Because the one sent over is none other than my precious disciple. Dun. Bai Chongfeng originally wanted to take another sip from his teacup then. However, when he heard that explosive news, he literally spat the liquid out from his mouth and coughed profusely afterwards. Your disciple is here? Raising his head in amazement, the old grandpa's face clearly showed astonishment over the news. Ever since several years ago when these three brothers said they took in a genius disciple, they've been treasuring the individual like their greatest treasure. Even now, he has no information whatsoever about the person due to their protectiveness. Hold on. Excuse me, but what is the name of your disciple again? My disciple's name. Ran Yi had wanted to answer the other side's question, but it was his older brother who hurriedly stopped him with an eye signal. Lord Bai, what sort of bad schemes are you planning there? All smiles, Xianxia puts up a cheeky front like a brat. My disciple is not only our precious baby, our Lord is also very fond of her and even had his daughter become the girl's little follower. So, you can lose the idea of stealing her over to the medicine sect. This bastard actually dares to inquire about my precious disciple's origin. Dream on, we won't be so gullible and let you steal her away. Bai Chongfeng's expression instantly went stiff like a piece of plywood. Showing a thin layer of anger, Elder Xianxia, what do you mean by that? As if I would need to steal your disciple? Am I that kind of person? I'm telling you now, I couldn't care less about your disciple. I have a granddaughter and her alchemic skills wouldn't lose out to your disciple in any way. Indulgence with the face slapping, 7. Oh? Your daughter is missing already, so where did this granddaughter come from? Ran Yi apparently didn't buy the old fart story about the girl's existence. After all, the other side have on multiple occasions snatched their Holy Land's disciple away using various temptations. Whether it be personal or business-wise, the second brother had no reason to want to believe it. Pang! When it came to the last sentence, Bai Chongfeng's face appeared very smug and proud. Now I want to see for myself who this girl is when you say it like that. Your granddaughter, where is she? Show me. Wang Qi makes a dismissive smile and asked, Want to get news on my granddaughter? Ha! Bai Chongfeng grins gleefully. I've snatched your Holy Land's disciple so often that I'm not going to fall for the same trick. Want to steal my granddaughter away? Dream on. During these days, the three bastards over there haven't stopped gloating in front of himself. Saying this, saying that. Therefore, he wants to one-up them so very badly right now. Bai Chongfeng, you are overthinking this. I've already got the most powerful disciple, so it's impossible for the likes of you to steal her away. However, I don't mind having both girls compete when the time comes. We can see who has the better air. Fine deal. I am very confident about my granddaughter, so she will not lose to your disciple. In light of having said that, the old grandpa in fact didn't hold much weight in terms of confidence. It's not like he didn't have faith in Bai Yan, but rather it's the repeated delay in bringing the girl over. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases and, what if the girl doesn't recognize him as her grandfather? Wouldn't that mean he's already lost before it started? Just thinking about all the ifs and nots was enough to throw the old boy's nerve into disarray. Inwardly, he really wanted to yell at his son for being so slow. If it weren't for this idiot son of mine, then I could already be with Yan Yan and hold my great-grandson in my arms. Why am I staying here suffering these two instead? Ha ha! Ran Yi heartily bellows out a laugh. Let's go. The winner of this convention will definitely be my disciple. Snorting at that statement, Bai Chongfeng refuses to lose the front before things started. You should be glad my granddaughter is not here to contend, otherwise she'd be the one taking the prize in place of your disciple. This undoubtedly left the old grandpa somewhat dissatisfied inside. After all, the other side was gloating left and right while he's still hoping to meet his granddaughter that's still nowhere to be seen. Meanwhile, inside an exquisite room, Yi Ying was currently lying on her bed staring off into the ceiling. Due to the bruises and bumps on her body, the girl's appearance could only be described as a pig, a sore sight for any female. Miss! A maid comes in through the door with a tub of hot water in hand. Did something happen outside? The patient's voice sounded dry and unpassionate. Miss! The maid bites her lip, unsure what to say. Someone Someone found your love letter inside the young master's room just now. Indulgence with the face slapping, 9. Bai Yan brows tightly furrows up. You're not busy today? Perhaps it's because there's resistance in her tone, but the man's naughtiness quickly subsided and turned into a gentle embrace. Yan, are you mad at me? Mad at me for not keeping you company? Yes, the man curls one corner of his mouth. This is what state teacher directed. State teacher? Pursing her lip, Bai Yan's mind promptly went back to that blood-ridden scene of a battlefield. As a result, the woman's complexion didn't look so good. If the battlefield I saw was one of my past life, then does that mean I also knew Song in my past? Song, I want to know your identity. She knew he's the king of the demon realm through the green snake's mouth from before, but aside from that, she knew next to nothing else about this insufferable bastard who takes advantage of herself whenever he can. But now, she desperately wants to learn everything about him and whether or not they're acquainted in some way prior. The demon realm has prophesied that I can only marry one wife in this lifetime, and that I must wait for her to appear. You are her, the one in the prophecy. Though she's adamant about the prophecy being true or not, Bai Yan nevertheless waited to see what else the man had to say. In addition to these, I'm also the king of the demon realm. Other than that, I got nothing else to say. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Why? Bai Yan widens her eyes at the picturesque man of devilish delight. I don't remember a lot of things, he frowns. I only remember waking up in the palace several hundred years ago. State teacher called me king, so that's how it's been since. What about Xiao Wan? Isn't she your sister? Xiao Wan is my sister. There's no falseness in that. Us demons are very clear about our bloodline and could recognize it through that method. It's how I know Xueqi is my son at first glance. The man's voice turned rasp. Just that when I found her, she was but a little fox sealed within a barrier. And when I released her, the memories, they were all gone as well. Gently closing her eyes at the clarified truth, Bai Yan appears troubled by what she heard. So it's impossible to learn of the past from Song then. I want to see this state teacher then. Perhaps that state teacher will know everything. What do you want to see him for? Song's complexion instantly went sourly dark. There's nothing good about seeing him. You only need to see me every day. Squinting her eyes then, Bai Yan makes a grab for the man's collar like a lone shark threatening a victim. You're sure about not letting me meet him? When do you want to meet him? I will arrange it right away. All smiles. Song yields instantly. This. I can't hear anything. You two continue. Yan, does this mean you are willing to return to the demon realm with me? Retracting his gaze from the third body after his deathly glare, Song looks on in anticipation at the enchanting female. Aha, caressing her own chin. I only wanted to figure out some questions I have, so I must figure out what that dream means. Is it from a previous lifetime, or an illusion? But it was at this moment that Bai Yan's lips became smothered once again by the pompous and overbearing man. This time though, the movements definitely reflected the excitement coursing through Song's veins. Oh Yan, I have waited for this moment for far too long. From now on and into the future, you are the queen of the demon realm and the mistress of the inner palace. Indulgence with the face slapping, 10. Bai Yan's heart shuddered over the comment, her eyes staring intently at the other side. One love for one life. Can this man really do it? Yan, the position of queen has been vacant for many years all because of you. Now that you are here, I can finally lose my solo life. It's just a matter of time anyways. Song's smile was all domineering and arrogant when making the claim. In this lifetime, you won't be able to get rid of me. Even in death, I will still come back to haunt you and cling on to you. Now that did it. Unsettled and unsure on how to take that level of advance, Bai Yan makes a frantic run for the door after crawling out of bed. The voting for the alchemy convention is about to begin. I'll first head out. With that said, the woman didn't wait for a second to run out of the room while also slamming the door like it would do anything helpful. With the woman gone and only a tiger and demonic being in the background, it was apparently time for some interrogation. Due to this, Little Rice could only shrink his head in upon being stared down on the bed. Did I do something? What happened on the day when you contracted with Yan? Song's voice was demanding and frosty. I don't know, maybe it's because Mistress had a dream. She woke up crying. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Crying? Di Tsong's heart tenses up over the revelation. His level of adoration for the woman has reached a new high. That's why even the fact that she's crying would make his mood all mixed and churning. You mean, when she contracted with you, something else happened that we're not aware of? And that it made her cry? I think that's the case. Scratching his furry head, Little Rice cautiously answers. Sneering aloud, Di Tsong's eyes narrows in dangerously. I had intended to match state teacher with Xiao Wan as soon as possible, but because of this, I should postpone the idea. Yan Yan never would have cried if not for state teacher saying it's imperative that the tiger must contract with her. King, Little Rice meekly says. Princess has been clinging onto Mistress lately, and there's indication that she's about to occupy Mistress all to herself. That instantly made the man's complexion go dark. That girl is clinging onto my woman? And the tiger carefully looks up. Mistress said she wants to see state teacher. I don't know how that person looks, but if you give the princess to him, then wouldn't it be good? This way you won't have to worry about them both taking up mistress's time. If Yan Yan could accept me, then I wouldn't have to worry so much, but she keeps pushing me away. Fine, I just need to remove any possible obstacles. This way I can have her all to myself. Actually, the light in Little Rice's eye flickers meaningfully. King, you are actually very special in Mistress's eye. Though she repeatedly rejected your advances, she at least allows you to be rejected. If it was any other men, they would have been thrown aside without a single chance. That is, except for Xueqi Feng. Really? Transforming from gloom to bright, Di Tsong's voice never sounded so king to the baby tiger. Indulgence with the face slapping. 11. Little Rice immediately nodded. My lineage is at the very least that of the great white tiger. I would never lie. Aha, I understand then. Raising a curvy smile, Di Tsong's face now loosens up. In a few days I will return to the demon realm with her. Outside in the courtyard, Di Xiaowan and the rest were just in the middle of rushing over to the venue when they incidentally bumped into Di Tsong from behind. Brother! Hurrying to straighten herself, the demon princess grew all rigid in her posture. Due to his good mood, the man even showed off a smile to his sister that only had the opposite effect. Brother, did I do something wrong? Staring up at her brother's face, the girl nervously bites her lip. Could you not make your smile so frightening? If it was in the past, Di Tsong would most certainly tie the brat up to whiplash her for a good session over that comment. However, he's not only impassive at the moment, his smile only grew deeper. Your sister-in-law promised to go home with me. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Blank all over in the head. Di Xiaowan had to take a good minute to pop her eyes in over the realization. What did he say? Did sister-in-law agree to go to the demon realm? This surprise is too sudden. I need a minute to slow down. Brother, is what you're saying absolutely true? I can finally bring sister-in-law and nephew home? Yes, still making his creepy smile. I'm giving you special permission. While I'm not around, you are free to feed any who dares to trouble your sister-in-law to the demon beasts within the abyss. There's no need to report the aftermath to me about these people. This instantly brought on a delighted mood to the demon princess. This special privilege is too perfect. Even if I kill those trashy bitches here and the ones back at the demon realm, no one will blame me. Brother, you can rest assured, I will definitely do a proper job of protecting sister-in-law and Xiaochen. Whoever dares to come make trouble, I will have state teacher deal with them. Smiling right up to her eyes, the demon girl now sparkles with delight like the starry stars in the night sky. As unwilling as she was to admitting this fact, she could do nothing to change this fact. You finally understand? Di Xiaowan flutters her eyelash in elation. Although I am very much afraid of my brother, but in my mind, he will always be the best. No one can match up to him, so of course that's the case. Lowering her eyes in a downcast manner, Chu Yi's voice lowered into a moan. I've always wanted to make Bai Yan my sister-in-law, but, in comparison to my wishes, I know Bai Yan's happiness is more important. So, no matter what happens in the future, I will always support her from behind. I believe my brother would do the same if he was in my case. If the road ahead is too rugged, then brother would surely flatten it. There's no way he would allow anyone to destroy Bai Yan's happiness. Let's us go already. The voting for the winner of the alchemy convention is about to begin. I'm sure cousin would be the one to win, so I don't want to miss it. Unlike the two troubled girls beside herself, Lan Xiaoyun had a better outlook on the situation and even showed off a glistening youthful light around herself. Over at the main venue, crowds of people were quickly gathering and has created a loud scene of lively gossips and chattery. Indulgence with the face slapping, 12. A humph. Elder Xiao Wang makes a cough to clear his throat, allowing his eyes ample time to land on that reddish figure among the crowd. To think the incident from yesterday with this blasted woman would attract the princess of the Holy Land over. The old fella furrows his brow, troubled by the obstacle now lays before him in dealing with the troublesome disciple of that power. At the same time over at the observation deck not far away from the venue, several old farts were currently eyeing the scene with happy smiles from their seats. Do you see now, that's my precious disciple? Ranyi proudly cocked his head high. My disciple will definitely be the winner of this convention considering how amazing she is. How am I supposed to know which is your disciple when you don't point it out to me? Shooting a raised eyebrow at the silly fella, Bai Chongfeng points out the biggest flaw here. Of course it is the best on there. Proud in his face, Ranyi was smiling right up to high eyes then. At this point Bai Chongfeng didn't even want to deal with this old fart anymore. It didn't matter anyways. After the convention comes to an end, all he has to do was to ask a subordinate on who was the disciple from the Holy Land. Want to keep a secret from me? As if they can do that while on my home turf. Seriously, how can these two old-timers be so smart in the past but be so befuddled whenever it comes to their disciple? What? Just as Bai Chongfeng was scanning the venue like he usually does every year, his eyes suddenly fell upon a certain familiar figure. Jerking up from his seat, anger and shock instantly overtakes his old face. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Where is Elder Gu? Get him out here to me this instant. My lord, Elder Gu. He's currently in closed-door training right now with your son. The guard nervously answers, shuddering over the oppressive chill creeping down his spine as a result of the deathly aura exuding out of his lord. Closed-door training? Bai Chongfeng huffs a grunt, his teeth grinding from rage. No wonder that brat is missing all this time. My granddaughter is already here and he has the nerve to hide it from me? Go find my son this instant. When you do, I want him in front of my face immediately. At this very moment, the old grandpa's control was at its limit. Similar, she's too similar. That girl, she's almost identical to Ninger, daughter, when she was young. Who would dare say she's not my granddaughter? Both the face and air, they are exactly the same. Your granddaughter is here? Ranyi turns around to show an amazed face. How can it be that you don't even know your own granddaughter is here? Talk about stabbing someone's heart while they're down. Though not intentional or with ill intent, Ranyi's remark literally left the old grandpa bleeding like he's been pierced with 1,000 knives. In fact, Bai Chongfeng would love to kill the blasted old fart for his careless comment. That's how much of a sore spot the subject was. Yenner is here. How dare that brat hide it from me? Unacceptable. So what if I didn't know? Stalking his neck in embarrassment. My daughter's been gone for so long, what's the problem with my granddaughter not knowing about my existence? It's normal that she would not tell me when she came. Snorting at that laughable defense, Ranyi didn't want to argue over the strange topic and ignored it. Instead, his attention was more inclined towards who the girl was. Which one is it then, your granddaughter? The one that looks the most like my daughter. Humph, when I saw your daughter, she was only a few years old. How do you expect me to recognize the girl with only that sort of detail to go upon? Scared to the point of being unable to walk 3. Without giving his feline friend a chance to say anything there, the baby boy's hand has already yanked that tail into a gripping hold. Together, one tiger and one boy, they disappeared like the gusting wind in pursuit of the 3 ladies. Meanwhile in the background still, Wenru was putting on a weeping face the entire way. He's pained by the Dan pills that's been left scattered on the floor due to Bai Xiaoqin's outburst just now. What a spendthrift. A spendthrift. Those are 6th grade. How can he just eat them like it's nothing and a whole bottle at that? Why can't they be given to me instead? What's the matter? Noticing the oddity, Bai Yan's first glimpse of the grievance in her subordinate's mood, was the fact that he was sorrowfully picking up the leftovers from the ground like a beggar. In light of the question, Wenru didn't answer like he usually does in an upbeat attitude. Instead, the young man only staggered back to his room and shut the door like a dispirited ghost. Now that's left the woman all confused and clueless. Since Bai Yan herself didn't know what's going on, She has decided to ignore it out of consideration for the boy's past action. There's just too many oddballs constantly running around in her life, so another one Ru here makes hardly any difference. The Elder Assembly Hall, one of the most important places within the medicine sect. I don't know what happened, but Zhangping suddenly called over half of us away something. Now he's not paying any attention to the alchemy convention, says a red-robed elder inside the chamber hall. Yeah, this convention is usually hosted by the young master. Now that he's gone, everything is falling into Xiao Wang's hands and it's becoming a mess. Especially how he tried to expel the disciple from the Holy Land at the persuasion of that Yi Ying. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. These elders were all getting a throbbing migraine over the recent events of the past 2 days. They want the real lord or young lord to step in, or the very least to give them permission to interfere. As things stand now, they are helpless. Everyone, this is indeed our fault. If the time comes that the Holy Land does come seeking answers, we are going to have to endure the consequences. I heard that the position of the disciple is not high, so the Holy Land wouldn't really come make trouble because of someone like that, right? Damn it, if things do go that way, then it's just going to benefit that misty fairy house. While these elders were negotiating on how to deal with the aftermath, a man dressed in protective gear had suddenly barged into their meeting. Based on how agitated and flustered the person was, it's obvious he did so in the heat of the moment after running all the way. Who allowed you to come in? A yellow-robed elder roared, slamming his fist against the table. Crumbling to the floor at the yell, the person stutters profusely. Elders, we are in trouble. The Holy Lands which is here. What? Astonishment and fear instantly shook the chamber, their eyes borderline disbelieving the news. The witch is coming? Why did she come here? Is it because she found out about us bullying her sect's disciple? This witch have always been short-tempered and is definitely going to raise a storm. It shouldn't be. The news couldn't have spread so fast, but letting her know about it will definitely cause an uproar. Damn that Yi Ying. If this matter is really related to her, then I won't let her off the hook. The yellow-robed elder was blistering red due to the anger in himself. Perhaps it's the effect of Xueqi's nickname being so prominent, but the only one left who's still showing calm was the red-robe elder who first spoke up earlier. But in truth, ahem, the witch coming isn't anything to be freaking out about. It's fine, everyone, and be optimistic. We are the medicine sect, we just need to send someone to look after the girl so she doesn't cause any harm. Though he says that, the trembling legs underneath his robe said otherwise. Indulgence with the face slapping, 14. Shadowless sect, 3 completed recipes, disqualified. Tianxian sect, 5 completed recipes, barely pass. Moonslicer sect. Following each result of the judges from the medicine sect, there were many frowns and tense faces, but more were leaning towards the frustrated expression as a result of their failure. There are a total of 12 recipes given out this year. To be able to complete just 5 was enough to prove a contestant's worth. Sadly, among the many forces participating, the highest success rate revolves around only 7. Before long, a judge has arrived at Bai Yan's spot and begun opening the box she prepared ahead of time to house the pills she created. 7 types of pills? The judge's face became a bit red over the sight. 7 types of pills? The faces of all the people were showing astonishment as well by now. Elder Xiao Wang. It was then a middle-aged man stepped forward. First giving Bai Yan a negative look, he then faced the old senior. I want to protest. This woman was sneaking around our place of residence last night. Then by this morning, us of the Moon Slicer sect discovered there's been a theft. 7 of our creations were missing from the main cauldron. Watching this unfold from afar, Yi Ying, who was still being carried around, finally revealed her sinister self again in public. There's no other reason. It's because this man was arranged by her to destroy Bai Yan's reputation. Are your words true? Elder CEO Wang's face turned slightly white, his anger showing then as he confronted the accused. Like the old senior, the onlookers were also focused in on Bai Yan by now. Their faces all questioning and uncertain. To think there would be someone daring enough to cheat at the alchemy convention. Is she asking to die? This woman may be part of the Holy Land, but not even her sect would shield someone so low. Of course my words are true. The middle-aged man from the Moonslicer sect smugly grins. Miss Yi Ying will be Bai Zhangping's goddaughter in the future. There's no way the Holy Land would shield a disgraced disciple that has no background or ability. Where is your evidence? CEO Wang's expression sank, turning dark and stern as he attempts to get to the bottom of this. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Elder, you should have noticed as well. This woman from the Holy Land did nothing but play with her son during the past 3 days. Where is she supposed to find time to refine all these pills while doing something like that? What's more, there's no way each contesting party would only create 1 pill of each type. My Moon Slicer sect has done just that and is missing one of each kind from our possession. As it so happens, it's exactly the one she has in that box. The implication of that statement was that the disciple from the Holy Land didn't know any alchemy at all, merely an extra to make up the numbers. Sure enough, Elder CEO Wang's complexion was now darker than the bottom of a burnt pot. It's not like the old fella didn't pay attention to Bai Yan's actions during these past few days. That's why he's willing to believe the man's claim to a certain extent. Humph, to think there really is someone daring enough to cheat while under my watch. Over at the other end of the crowd, Di Xiaowan and Xueqi were already fuming hard upon seeing these people spouting lies left and right. But just as the two were ready to jump out to kick some asses, it was their friend Lan Xiaoyan who pulled them back. Don't worry, my cousin will be able to handle these idiots on her own. If you two go out now, then wouldn't we be missing a good show as a result? Though the words were able to keep the two dangerous females at bay, but the surging anger in those eyes didn't diminish in the least. In fact, it's only growing stronger. Indulgence with the face slapping. 15. Bai Yan seems to have noticed the ridiculing eyes casted her way, making a faint smile. Are these recipes hard? As if they would need me 3 days to study and understand. Boom. The crowd was shocked, their eyes popping over the woman's arrogance. She actually dares to claim they are not difficult? This is unprecedented. Such arrogance. True, she did not say she only has 7, but there are indeed only 7 within the bottle. At this moment, everyone has noticed by now that the judge in charge of assessing Bai Yan hasn't said a word since the middle-aged man jumped out to make the accusation. Wen Ru. Upon hearing his name, the teen immediately understood the meaning and handed over the results of his creations during these past 3 days. Of the 12 recipes this place handed out, 5 are extremely simple. That's why I gave it to my people to practice. All rosy in her face, Bai Yan stares down at the middle-aged man who was clearly losing steam. Or do you want to say all 5 of these Dan pills were also stolen from your place of residence as well? Boom. Silence hangs in the air after that revelation. However, the calm didn't last long before a giant uproar exploded among the people. 12. This woman actually finished all 12 recipes. Even these alchemists of the medicine sect couldn't completely understand the last few recipes during the past few months that they had it, but this woman could do it in 3 days? Ho, and the Moon Slicer sect people has the audacity to claim she stole it from them. What a load of crap. But then, who's the teen beside the woman? He finished 5 of the recipes on his own. The teen's not normal either. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. I didn't finish my words just now. The judge's hand was shaky as he held onto the pills. Of the pills this lady created, 5 of them are beyond my ability to discern. I like to request other elders to come forward in order to confirm their authenticity. If the Dan pills were wrong, then he would have immediately announced the woman as an imposter, using fake ones in order to get past the contest. However, he never said such a thing, claiming he couldn't discern their authenticity only. While shock and a sense of sensation circulated among the crowd, a group of elders led by none other than Lu Zhong, Red Robe Elder, have already ran over. Their faces were all showing excitement and wonder due to the amazing news. Silence now hangs in the air as everyone awaited the results. At first Lu Zhong didn't say anything after popping the cork and examining the pills repeatedly, but once he began exchanging meaningful glances with his peers and getting agreeing nods in return, a pleasant expression now became the norm. It's real, all of these Dan pills are real, especially this Spirit Booster Dan pill. I scratched a bit of it off to get a taste and my spirit force almost immediately saw improvement. Almost double even. Towards a cultivator, the improvement of one's spirit force was of the utmost importance, for it's able to pave the path for quicker and easier results. For example, what would normally take a year to achieve might require only a month or 2 if their spirit force was abnormally high at the time. That made this pill almost priceless in the eyes of those who needs it to reach new heights when faced with a bottleneck. Indulgence with the face slapping too. The slap has left Ying utterly dumbfounded to the point where she had to take a good minute to come back to her senses. Ah! You bitch! I'm going to tear you apart for hitting my granddaughter. Old Madam Yi screams, running for the perpetrator in order to exact revenge. However, before that old woman could do anything, Di Xiaowan have already sent a mega kick against her obese body. A few tumbling rolls later, the old hag now laid flat on the ground. Stop! Yi Ying's face was ugly and menacingly cold. You got some nerve acting so arrogant while inside the medicine sect. Someone come, subdue these assailants. Yet none moved at her command. Instead, everyone only turned to the livid-looking elders that's been watching the entire thing unfold. They knew this wouldn't turn out well, so the posture of the medicine sect members instinctively backed off a step. As for Elder Lu Zhong and the rest, they wanted to tear Ying apart right now. The only reason they didn't rush over earlier was because they had no proper plan to appease Xueqi. Not because they didn't want to. This is over. This time, no matter how much we appease this witch, we're screwed. You want to hit me? Under the angry eyes of Yi Ying and others, Xueqi only snarled a snicker. My father wouldn't even dare to hit me and you're threatening me? Who the heck are you? You're not even a disciple here. What? Does the medicine sect have an opinion about me, about our holy land? Holy land? Yi Ying was gobsmacked by the news. This girl too? You are nothing but a disciple of the holy land. Don't get ahead of yourself with that arrogance. Even if your sect leader comes in person today, our medicine sect won't let you off so easy. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Peng. Yi Ying didn't even get to finish her threat when an immense push tossed her aside. This infuriated the girl, of course, and that's on top of her already flaming mood. However, that flame was instantly smothered out at the recognition of who the individual was. Elder Xianxia, you. How come you are here? The man named Xianxia was the very same yellow-robed elder who spoke up at the meeting hall. After forcefully pushing aside the impudent girl, the senior promptly made a flattering smile. Princess, how come you are here? He originally wanted to call out with the nickname Witch, but thankfully his steady mindset has managed to stop that horrible mistake in the nick of time. If I didn't come then I wouldn't have known the extensive arrogance of your medicine sect now, would I? Sneering still. Oh yes, your medicine sect successor is claiming to be my fiancé while this old hag is saying I'm not worthy. So tell me, which is it? Also, when did this place get such a successor? Have the medicine sect fallen so low to use such garbage now? No, this is definitely a mistake. Our lord is doing just fine and will continue to do just fine for many years to come. This Yi Ming is nothing but a distant relative of the sect leader. What successor? Elder Xianxia shoots a harsh glare at the Yi family members. As for that talk about being your fiancé, I never heard of such nonsense. That's right. Princess, you are both beautiful and talented. Only the best of the best out there is worthy of you. This Yi Ming, humph. He's not even worthy of being your shoe licker. Princess, everything is the Yi family's fault. It has nothing to do with us. So you see. Can you spare the precious treasures in our medicine sect? The elders were surrounding Xueqi from every angle, afraid the girl would slip away to rob them dry using this opportunity. Indulgence with the face slapping, 17. The man from the Moon Slicer sect wanted to flee then, but before he could, a girl wearing a pinkishly fine dress have already blocked him from behind. Arms stabbing her waist. You bullied my sister-in-law and you still want to run away? Move it! In a swing of his fist, the man attempts to send a punch at Di Xiaowan. However, before he could even land it, the girl's flying kick have already reached over and knocked him over in a rolling fall. Auntie, I will tell Baddie father about what you said there. Stern and serious, Bai Xiaochen untimely interjects himself to cause the girl a wave of fright. I am just kidding. It's really just a joke. Don't tell my brother please, or he will beat me to death. Brother is already very dissatisfied with me clinging on to sister-in-law. If he learns of me saying something like that then he would surely toss me out like a love rival. Ooh, ow! Groaning, the man from the Moon Slicer sect eventually manages to climb up from the floor. Miss, me misunderstanding you is my fault. However, isn't there a saying that a person is excusable if they didn't know, don't you agree? Did you really not know? Bai Yan rubs her chin as if contemplating the plausibility of that idea. It's true, the man gnashes his teeth and spits out that last bit. In any case, there's no way he would divulge the truth about Yi Ying bribing him to do the task. Otherwise, he'd be doomed in the future with no space to live. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. True. Bai Yan squints her eyes and grew intimidatingly dangerous. Looking at the woman getting closer and closer, the man shuddered with an uncontrollable fear. What do you want to do? Of course I want to. Stomp. Beat you until you admit it. Poof. Spewing a stream of blood straight out of his mouth, Bai Yan's ever-increasing foot strength has left the man struggling to breath. Then just as he's ready to roll his eyes and faint. Stop. Turning their heads, everyone soon saw the person being pushed over on a wheelchair. It was a bloated-looking girl due to the bruises, and as a result, they could barely recognize the original contour if not for the clothes she was wearing. Miss Bai, there's a saying of mercy on the weak. Since this man never intended to do what he did, isn't beating him relentlessly overly cruel? A flash of contempt flickers within Yi Ying's iris. And what if I say I want to cripple him? I can't stop you, but neither can I just watch you hurt others. Yi Ying's words just went all righteous. In the past 2 days, some people have framed me and my brother as well, but what can I do? In fact, I even know who famed me. However, I will only at most teach them a lesson. I do not ask you to be kind to others, but I can't allow you to be too cruel either. In all seriousness, Qi Yi and Di Xiaowan were both absolutely stunned by the shamelessness of that speech. They've never met someone capable of being this thick-skinned. Ho ho, Qu Yi slowly steps forward, her face showing contempt. If I didn't forget, I remember you trying to have my people take my away, did you not? Changing in her bloated face. Yes, I have issued such an order, but that's only because I didn't know your identity. What's more, I only wanted to drive you away to stop you from causing trouble. I never harmed you in any way. Indulgence with the face slapping, 18. Bang! Unable to control her temper, Qu Yi didn't give a rat's ass about the public's opinion and directly ran up to slap the shameless bitch's face. You shut up. If I hear another rotten word from that mouth of yours, then I will tear it off. How can simply tearing it off be enough? I say we should throw her into the abyss to feed the demon beasts instead. Due to Di Xiaowan's own lineage, it's not abnormal for the demon princess to want to help her kind get some extra meat. Though those creatures are of inferior status in every manner to her existence, nevertheless, she still has some duty to those poor things that's currently starving in the wild. Xiaowan, can I follow you to the demon forest? Shimmering with excitement in her eyes, Lan Xiaoyun jumps in to ask. I've never seen a wild demon beast eat a person before, can I? Nodding easily. Of course, all the demon beasts out there belong to my family, so they won't hurt you by mistake. Don't you worry a bit and come watch. In front of that arrogance, no man or woman could possibly turn a blind eye to it. As a result, the attention has shifted from Bai Yan to this unknown girl who dares to make such a bold claim. This girl is too arrogant. Outrageous. You people are too outrageous. Old Madame Ye's face had turned livid by now. First she had to watch her own granddaughter be slapped in open public, then be insulted by 3 ignorant brats. No grandmother would stand idly by regardless of their terrible nature. Do you think you can have everything your way just because you are the daughter of the Lord of the Holy Land? I'm telling you, my granddaughter is going to be Lady of the Medicine Sect. My brother-in-law, the sect leader, have already promised to have Zhangping accept her as his goddaughter. What? Due to how heavy that statement was, it had somehow managed to overshadow the noise in this crowded venue. The sect leader promised to let the young master accept her as a goddaughter? And why now of all times? Very irritated in her face now, Qu Yi didn't like it one bit. What does the medicine sect mean by this? You people know I hate this woman, yet she's still being taken as the young lord's goddaughter? Is this a declaration of war with us from the Holy Land? Qu Yi. Yi Ying clenches her fists while making a cold hard frown. I endured your crimes because of my kindness, but you should know my status is now on equal grounds as you. What qualifications do you have to hit me? Boom. Not going to listen to another word of that nonsense, Qu Yi liberally sent another kick at the wheelchair to knock the occupant over. You are nothing but an imposter. Don't even try to have the delusion of being on my level. I am a genuine princess of the Holy Land. And what are you? Nothing but a fake trying to act like a real one. Inger! Old Madame Yi exclaims, hurrying to upright her precious granddaughter from the ground. Yi Ying, is what your grandmother saying true? Lu Zhong and the rest were also showing an ugly expression as well, but it's not over the fact that the girl got hit though. Of course it is true. The old granny gnashes her teeth and snapped back. Just wait until my brother-in-law comes over to announce the news. Once he learns of what you people did to bully my precious Inger, none of you will get away." This time the elders didn't say a word. Their eyes locked entirely onto Ying instead. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases, giving a nervous nod in return. "Yes, Bai Zhongping is going to be my godfather and my granduncle will be personally coming to announce this news." Hiss. Everyone gasped hard at the notion. Ying really got accepted as Bai Zhongping's goddaughter? Oh heavens! That would put her in the same league as the princess of the Holy Land. What exactly is the Lord thinking? The yellow-robed elder angrily speaks out. How could he allow an outsider become a direct member of our medicine sect? Isn't this the same as diluting our blood? Even if it's a goddaughter, it still isn't right. Indulgence with the face slapping, 19. Haha. CEO Wang instantly swept away his depressed state and laughed twice. This proves that our Lord has good eyesight. Miss Yi Ying is unlike her brother Yi Ming, who only knows how to indulge himself in pleasure and lust. She's gifted, gentle and kind. The fact that the Lord wishes to turn her into a lady of our sect is excusable. After all, now others couldn't bully the lady anymore. When he said this, the old senior's eyes didn't forget to sweep over to Bai Yan and Chu Yi's location, thus indirectly indicating the two women as the instigator. I really don't know what Lu Zhong and the rest is thinking in indulging the Holy Land's princess. Can't they differentiate who is an outsider and an insider? This matter, the young master will not agree with it. The yellow-robed elder says this with his teeth grinding. It doesn't matter if the young master is willing to agree. What matters is the Lord's will. Who knows? Perhaps the fact that the Lord is missing right now is due to his preparations for installing Miss Yi Ying as the future lady of our sect. At this point, CEO Wang felt refreshed over his own self-conceited justification. Once Yi Ying becomes the lady here, my future will surely become smooth and bright considering my flattery for today. As for these people, they can only be envious of me by then. You! The yellow-robed elder exploded, his face livid with anger. But just as the elder wanted to move forward to smash up that conceited face of CEO Wang's, Lu Zhong, red robe, had stopped him with a hand. Forget it, let's wait for this matter to be handled by the Lord when he comes around. There's no way such a big decision would come to pass without consulting the rest of us. If at the time he's still with the idea, we only need to oppose the idea. Sure enough, the sentence quickly calmed the heated yellow-robed elder down. It's not that the elder council of the medicine sect hated Yi Ying or such. Rather they are well aware of the girl's sensible difference from her brother's useless nature. However, it doesn't change the fact that the medicine sect mustn't fall into the hands of an outsider with a different surname. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Just as the elders were indignant and fuming, an old voice suddenly reached over from afar. Who can tell me what happened here? Cold in his face, Bai Chongfeng slowly strolled over with an obvious look of impatience. As the sect leader, he's naturally obligated to interfere in such cases. But more importantly, he's not going to let his granddaughter be bullied. Brother-in-law. Crying out at Bai Chongfeng's appearance, old Madame Yi puts on the most fake act of indignation ever. You must get justice for me. This wild girl from the Holy Land is bullying my Inger despite me telling them her identity. Wrinkling his old brow, the grandpa indifferently casts his sight on the old shrew that instantly silenced her. It seems the alchemy convention is over. As for what happened just now, you lot can explain it to me afterwards. Right now, I have something important to announce. Now that's just the wrong timing. Going from timid to a cheeky high stance, the fat old shrew was once again at it upon hearing this statement. Humph, I've said it already. Brother-in-law would only announce something so big in front of everyone. Now I like to see anyone else looking down at my granddaughter. Compared with the excitement of old Madame Yi, Elder Lu Zhong and his faction that's against the idea were all showing a gloomy face. Sect leader wouldn't really disregard their feelings and dilute the medicine sect's bloodline, would he? Father! Suddenly, a voice came from outside the venue. Bai Chongfeng's mood wasn't all that great to begin with after his argument, now to be interrupted so suddenly. His face also sank and turned to the source where Bai Zhongping was quickly walking out from the crowd. Indulgence with the face slapping, 20. You brat! As a result of Bai Chongfeng's outrage, the elders as well as his son were all shuddering for a brief second. What happened? Why is the Lord so angry? Shouldn't he be finding the young Mrs. daughter a good and happy occasion? It was then some of the other elders have also arrived. They've been busy with Bai Zhanping confirming Bai Yan's identity, thus they're still oblivious to the reasoning for Lu Zhong, Red Robe, and the rest's ugly and uncomfortable face. Father, just scold me afterwards. I have some wonderful news to tell you. From the man's handsome face, Bai Zhanping soon found the reddish figure of his liking within the crowd. You mean to say, the old grandpa's body goes stiff like a block of wood? That's right. It's exactly what you think, father. Boom. Although he's long taken Bai Yan as his granddaughter regardless of the fact, but having confirmation still brings excitement to his old heart. My medicine sect finally has an heir. Ha ha. A long laugh rocks the world. Anyone could see the excellent mood of this old grandpa. In fact, ever since his daughter Bai Ning disappeared from the public's eye years ago, Bai Chongfeng has never laughed so loudly and happily again. Great, this is too great. Grinning right up to his eyes. Son, go stand on one side first, I will announce the great news to everyone here today. Yes, father. Walking to one side like asked, Bai Zhanping didn't forget to cast a warm and tender smile at his niece that's also nearby. As a result, this look of kindred love has left Bai Yan rather uncomfortable and twitchy. Son, did your grandpa Zhanping go stupid? After some thinking, that's the only conclusion the woman could come up with. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Nodding in return, Bai Xiachen attempts to hide his own guilt, probably. Should I tell mother I stole a strand of her hair and gave it to Grandpa Zhanping? If mother finds out, will she be angry with me? But Grandpa Zhanping isn't a bad person. Oh, what to do? Ladies and gentlemen, still smiling with a stupid grin on his face, there's something important I like to announce today. It's regarding a descendant of my home. That's why I want to take advantage of everyone's attendance to verify her identity to you all. It's really here. All eyes are now on Yi Ying. Envy, jealousy and annoyance were only a sample of the emotions running through the crowd's heart. Really, what sort of luck is running through this Yi Ying? To think some nobody like that could become Bai Chongfeng's granddaughter and be recognized in open public. Of course, Bai Chongfeng wasn't a blind old fool. Naturally, he would see the strange looks shooting over to the bruised-up and bloated girl on one side. I'm announcing my granddaughter's identity. Why are they looking over to Yi Ying? A frown takes over that smile. Since the old grandpa couldn't figure out the reasoning for the strange behavior, he decides to just leave it and continued on with his speech. I think everyone can still remember my missing daughter Bai Ning. She disappeared many years ago. Bai Ning? Startled at the name, everyone's gaze immediately turns away from their initial target of envy. He's not going to announce Yi Ying's status? But then what does this all have to do with Bai Ning? Milord, you mean the young Miss Shi? Still unclear over the sudden turn in event, Lu Zhong hurries to ask. I bet none of you could have guessed. While my daughter was away due to some unforeseen accident, she not only got married, she also gave birth to a daughter. Compared with Yi Ying's lie, the news from the old grandpa was even more shocking. The amazing girl from back then is already married and with children? Even though there are not many who's had the privilege of meeting Bai Ning in person, it doesn't mean they've never heard of the girl's outstanding talent and fame. Therefore, it was quite the regretful incident when it became known that she had gone missing 20 years ago. This was especially true for the younger male population who had some background. Indulgence with the face slapping, 21. Against this bombshell of a news from the old grandpa himself, not only were the elders of the medicine sect dropping their jaws, even the other forces present were as well. My poor granddaughter, she was raised by others as soon as she was born due to painful circumstances. If not by mere chance and coincidence, I never would have known about her existence. Wiping some of those tears away, Bai Chongfeng didn't forget to sneak a peek at Bai Yan from one corner of his eye. The reason why he would say so much was to relay a message before he recognizes the girl. It's not that the medicine sect didn't want her, rather it's because they didn't know about her existence. Originally Bai Yan was still ignorant of what the old grandpa was implying and didn't think much of that speech, but after hearing the cues shooting her way, the woman's face promptly went stupefied and gawked. After seeing the cue of the young woman understanding, a slightly excited luster swiftly takes over the old man's face. My granddaughter Bai Yan is the biological daughter of Ninger, the blood heir of my medicine sect. Boom. As if being smashed in the head once again, the crowds were all ready to faint over this shocking news. The news that Bai Chongfeng wants to announce is not to accept Yi Ying as a granddaughter, but instead to recognize Bai Ning's biological daughter? So that's why. Lu Zhong's surprised face didn't hold any calm by this point, only a gleeful excitement of overjoy. I knew the young lady looked familiar. It's not without reason. This is all my fault. I should have recognized the young lady long before this even took place. This genius who can refine spirit booster Dan Pill is Bai Ning's daughter. She's our medicine sect's true heir. Ha ha ha, this is truly a wonderful news. At this moment, Ying was shaking so hard that she had literally crumbled to the floor. The girl wants to climb back up. Sadly, none of the people nearby was willing to lend a helping hand. Bai Yan is the daughter of Bai Ning? No, it's just a coincidence that her surname is Bai. She couldn't possibly be Bai Ning's biological daughter. Something is wrong about all this. Due to how loud her murmuring voice was, it had mistakenly fallen into the ears of some of the occupants nearby. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. No, Bai Yan cannot be the medicine sect's big lady. I am supposed to be it. Curling herself into a fetal position, Ying had to gnash her own teeth to avoid having those tears swell out of those eyes. If Bai Yan is the big lady of the medicine sect, then what I said, wouldn't it be a total joke? What is going on here? Bai Chong Feng tightens his old brow and asked indifferently. The one to answer was Lu Zhong, his voice with unstoppable excitement. Just now Ying said that you promised to let the young master accept her as his goddaughter. We actually believed her, however. Ha ha ha. The red-robed elder didn't bother to hold back at all and burst out laughing his ass off. The tone was harsh and insulting, constantly slapping the greedy bitch's face with every echo. Showing amazement then. When did I ever say something like that? So what if I made such a promise? Besides, I only agreed if I didn't have a third-generation heir. As everyone can see now, my granddaughter is here, so none of that applies. Indulgence with the face-slapping 22. It's just that there's no way Bai Chong Feng would admit such a thing in open public. That's why it's going to be the Yi family who's going to take the blame for this fiasco. Sect leader is wise. The yellow-robed elder's old face was brimming with excitement then. Rubbing that fist of his, the senior didn't forget to shoot a sinister glare over to the old shrew. I just knew the Lord wouldn't be so muddle-headed that he would make such an irrational decision. Our medicine sect have an heir, so why should we take in an outsider? Moreover, young master is still young, so there's no way he wouldn't find a suitable marriage prospect. These people must be trying to curse him. That's why they are so certain there wouldn't be any heir. Old Madame Yi ignored the comment but still shot a killing glare to the elders before finally landing on Bai Yan's body. Brother-in-law, this girl cannot possibly be Bai Ning's daughter. Her heart is cruel and sinister. She doesn't deserve the status of being the big lady of the medicine sect. Only my Inger is qualified for that post. Shut up. Not bothering to wait for Bai Chong Feng or his son to lash out, Lu Zhong of the Elder Council have already had it. Screaming with his throat screeching. Blasted old hag, how dare you? It's one thing that you are always making trouble, but now you are also questioning the Mrs. Identity. My lord, I propose we kick these people out of the medicine sect and never allow them to step foot in here again. That's right. You not only eat ours, take ours, and even use our influence to take advantage of others. Now you actually have the audacity to falsely accuse our miss of being a fake? I won't continue to stand for such cancerous accusations. These leeches must be driven out of our medicine sect. Sect leader, you must drive these people out, otherwise I will resign myself from being an elder this instant. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. The angers were of the same accord across multiple members of the Elder Council, thus shocking Bai Chong Feng greatly in their activeness. Shouldn't these guys be trying to determine my granddaughter's identity first? Why are they being so excited when they didn't even see the evidence Zhanping prepared for them yet? This is too unreasonable. Lu Zhong, tell me what's going on here? Facing the red-robed elder, Bai Zhanping asks with confusion in his voice. Why are all of you so convinced when I didn't even show you the proof of the blood connection? Brimming with excitement and totally lacking in his usual calm and stable demeanor, the elder promptly replied. Young master, you remember the recipes we got our hands on recently, the 5 that were especially difficult to solve? Well, the miss have already solved them and created the Dan pills to show the public. She's a true alchemy master. The Dan pill recipes? Those 5? This news immediately raised waves across the elders that came with Bai Zhanping. They shuddered and cast their conniving eyes over to the woman in question. If one didn't know better, one might just assume they're hungry wolves confronted with a piece of juicy red meat. This undoubtedly didn't go unnoticed by Yen. Subconsciously, her feet had taken a step back out of fear for those glaring stares. Don't be afraid, mother. It was then that Xueqi got in front of the woman to shield her. I will protect you from these people. Mother is mine. I'm not going to give these old baddies any chance to steal her away. At the rear of the venue, Ran-E had just finished rushing down from the high platform where the VIP seats were located, but that's when he overheard the horrific dialogue. Without bothering to think his words through, he broke out into a frantic run at Bai Chongfeng's face. I'm going to kill you bastards. How dare you try to steal my disciple? Boom. Talk about fast and furious. Ran-E held nothing back in that punch. Arg, you not only cursed at me, you actually dared to hit me? Bai Chongfeng's angry now. Raising his hand to defend himself, the old grandpa takes his own stance. Don't think I'm afraid of you. Even if your lord came in person, he would still have to be polite in my presence. Yet you not only hit me, you also yelled at me. Indulgence with the face slapping 23, Ran-E sneered. I'm not just going to yell and beat you lot, I'm also going to have the Holy Land declare war on your sorry asses. Bai Chongfeng's dumbfounded now. This old fart wants to declare war on us? What sort of crackpot is he smoking? It's not like I cheated on him with his wife or something. Did he lose his mind? Then again, the act wasn't all that far off from the fact. For someone like Ran-E who treats Bai Yen as his greatest treasure, stealing the girl was akin to stealing his life or even worse. You just wait, once I go back, I will tell the Lord immediately. The Holy Land must go to war with the medicine sect. Glaring fire at Bai Chongfeng, the flustered and ranting elder then ran back to Bai Yen and the little steam bun. When he did so, the snarling annoyed face was promptly replaced with a genuine smile. Oh my precious disciple, don't let these cheating old liars deceive you. You mustn't believe in any of their lies. He then points to the group of the jaw-dropping people in the background. Disciple? So in addition to being Bai Ning's daughter, this woman is also the disciple of the elder of the Holy Land? Yi Ying could barely keep herself from suffocating as a result of the intense stinging in the wretched girl's heart. Why are all of the benefits going to her only? I won't accept this. I'm not going to accept this. Clenching that bruised-up fist, Yi Ying's iris was burning with resentment that surprisingly matched well with the distorted face of hatred she had on. Yen is the disciple from the Holy Land? Bai Chongfeng instantly turns to the guard behind himself. Why have you never told me this fact? The poor soul just felt wronged. My lord, you said not to disturb you under any circumstances, that's why no one told you. You dim-wit. Bai Chongfeng instantly slaps the trembling guard into a spinning roll. Granddaughter, I am your grandfather, your real grandfather. You must believe me. This old fart Ran-E is the real one who lies. Glaring back at the accusation, I'm going to flatten your medicine sect for trying to steal my disciple. Ho! The old grandfather huffs a grunt. This time I don't need you declaring war on us, my medicine sect will do it instead. How dare you try to steal my granddaughter, and to stop her from recognizing me? What, do you think just saying so is enough? I'm telling you now. My disciple is most important to our Holy Land. Not only does our little princess have to follow her around, even the Lord has given her the Holy Island as a gift. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases.